most dominating players on Oklahoma State's nationally ranked defense. As a result, he is one of the 10 finalists for this year's Outland Trophy Award. Last week, his play on special teams changed the complexion of the game. He blocked an extra point and a field goal, which helped lead the Cowboys to victory.
Well, I think the blocked field goal and extra point were turning points in our game. I was able to make the plays with the help of John, Washington, and Rodney Hart, and I think it turned around. The fans got behind us, and things just went our way from the rest of the game on.
Rusty Hilger is the only quarterback in Oklahoma State history to lead the Cowboys to 3 straight bowl appearances. Currently ranked 3rd in single-season passing yards, Hilger has 2 more games to gain 418 yards and secure his position as the all-time Oklahoma State passing leader.
So far, we feel like the Cowboys have, we're living in a dream year right now. We're playing well, and good things are happening to us, and we look forward to good things happening to us. We hope we can keep that dream alive, and maybe things will go right for us.
Leslie O'Neal has used his considerable talents extremely well. What sort of a label do you put on quarterback Rusty Hilger of the Cowboys, Eddie?
Well, Leslie O'Neal demonstrates the great athlete recruited. Rusty Hilger was a late-round draft choice. He's a fellow who, coming out of Oklahoma City, was questioned a little as to whether or not he was going to make it. Oklahoma State gave him the chance, but the important thing for him is that he has devoted every ounce of energy and effort to the development of his abilities, and it's wonderful to see a fellow in his 5th year now demonstrating great accomplishment with those abilities. He's a maximum achiever.
All right. So far, we have talked mainly about the Oklahoma State Cowboys. The Cyclones have had some outstanding individual performances this season from outstanding individuals. Let's take a look at those. Jeff Braswell is a major reason why the Cyclones are ranked 19th in the nation in total defense. Braswell recorded 17 tackles last week, the 9th time this season. He's had 10 or more tackles in a single game. He's one of the finalists for this year's Big 8 Defensive Newcomer of the Year award.
Defense is a game of momentum, and it's just being able to hit and run to the ball and just have a good time while you're out there on defense, and hope the offense can hurry up and put something together so we can go back on the field and just play heads-up football.
Offensively, it's been a tough year for the Cyclones. This year, they've become a passing team. Yet as of late, they've had difficulty getting the ball to All-America Tracy Henderson. Quarterback Allen Hood has taken over for the injured Alex Espinosa, and he's received a solid education.
Well, Oklahoma State is a great football team. They have an excellent defense. They rally to the ball really well. They got an excellent pass rush, and I just hope to establish a running game, and when it's time to throw, maybe that'll take some of the pressure off of me.
Iowa State has won the toss, but they have deferred taking their option until the start of the second half. So we're just a moment or so away from the kickoff, our Big 8 Conference Game of the Week. From rainy and 37 degrees Stillwater, Oklahoma, this is the Cats Sports Network. As we have just a couple of seconds before the kickoff, Eddie, do you think Iowa State, when they get the ball, will have considerable trouble, no trouble, a little bit of trouble getting the ball to Henderson?
Well, first, they've got to get the ball to Henderson without question, and I do not think they will have nearly as much difficulty as it would seem, though they do have a wet field. I think they will throw it. I think they'll throw it to Henderson.
This will be picked up by Will Timmons at the 10 for the Cowboys. 20, little hole, pretty good run back out to around the 30-yard line. There's a bit of change in the Cyclone uniform today, you're telling me, Eddie.
Well, it's interesting, yes, and Cyclone fans particularly will be aware of this, of course, in that the Cyclones on the road have normally worn cardinal color trousers with the with the white shirts. In this case, Coach Jim Kreiner has decided to go to white trousers, white shirts, a little change of pace to give a new feel to the younger players who are going to be back next year.
Hilger starts at quarterback. Timmons is the fullback. Hilger to the air. And there's his big tight end, Barry Hanna. And the Cowboys come up with a good effort on first down.
Well, the Cowboys are starting right out with the throwing as we look at the offensive backs and receivers: Weimer, Hanna, Hilger, Thomas, Timmons, and Jamie Harris. And their offensive line: Shanklin, Burton, Tucker, Partita, and Blair.
Second down and 1. And Timmons is smothered very close to the line of scrimmage by, among others, Steve Little.
And the defense for Iowa State, the defensive line, Williams, Little, Moore, and Lures. And the linebackers, Dennis Gibson, Jeff Braswell, Tim Iverson. And the secondary, of course, Anthony Mays, Davis, and Williams.
Now Oklahoma State in this third and less than one has only the one wide receiver in the game, Jamie Harris. And Thurman Thomas is not able to make the first down, and off that first showing, that's a tough defense against the run.
Well, with this second look, we get a full and clear picture of just why the Iowa State defense has gained great respect and established very impressive credentials and statistics, particularly in the last 4 weeks.
So it'll be Cary Cooper to punt. Whoa, he just got that away. Billy McHugh, the return man. But I'm sure the special teams coach of the Cowboys has took a long, hard look at that near block punt.
Well, not only a very near block punt, but Iowa State also down at the receiving end made a very wise decision in that when the ball is going to be wet somewhat, when the punt is not a high flyer with a good vision of it, then unquestionably it's better to let it go hit in the ground on a wet day.
Our officiating team led by referee Sam Mathis. 1st and 10, Cyclones first possession, their own 26-yard line. Allen Hood at quarterback. It'll be the I formation. Hansen is deep. That was one of their tight ends in motion. In watching the Cowboys now about 3 times this season, Eddie, I continually get the feeling that I should be saying that they come to the ball well.
Well, they do, and what that is generated from as we have a quick look here at the Cyclones offensive line. Westmeyer, Lawrence, Maudsley, Jasper, and Eccleston. But that point you comment on, that converging on the ball, is something that's emphasized in every practice by the defensive coaches.
2nd down 7, Cyclone 30, just underway, no score. Wadka, the tight end, in motion. Here's Hansen. Little bit of a hole that closed in a hurry thanks to Matt Munger, among others, one of the 2 Cowboy linebackers. Richard Hansen. He was the workhorse last week in the Cyclone tie with Kansas State.
And the defensive line for the Oklahoma State Cowboys, James Ham, Rodney Harding, John Washington, Leslie O'Neill, the great one, and David Webb.
3rd and 5. Pardon me.
Excuse me, Ray. Linebackers Matt Munger, a great one, and Ricky Adams, another one.
3rd down 5. Henderson, the only wide receiver, way out to the left. Here's Hansen. And he is very close to a first down. I think they'll mark him about a half-yard shy.
It would appear he's a little shy, and it does illustrate that swarming defense that you described earlier. This Oklahoma State defense has not only been known for their great pursuit, but in people like Leslie O'Neill, you have just so much natural athletic ability and quickness that you're going to be very much more aware of that.
It would appear that Jim Kreiner and his staff have elected here to take a good hard look, because I believe quarterback Allen Hood has said, hey, how about a measurement here? And we're going to have that measurement. So maybe the Cyclones will figure, hey, we're some 3 touchdown underdogs. Maybe we'll go for it.
Well, I think it was apparent to everybody that they are about half a yard short, but I do think the Iowa State Cyclones made a very smart decision to ask for the measurement, because it gives them a little time to consider whether or not to go for it on 4th down. And of course, as is apparent, seeing that's about 2.5 feet short, they decided wisely again to go with a punt.
Now, Jim Thompson in pregame practice was kicking the ball consistently over 60 yards in the air. Bobby Riley, number 1 there, is the return man for the Cowboys. We played a little more than 3 minutes here at Stillwater in the rain, and there is no score. Good pass from center. Well, this time he gets very little height. One of the Cowboys was right around that football. Number 45, Raymond Polk, a defensive back, but it's Oklahoma State possession with no score. And we'll be back right after these messages. Incidentally, with the Cyclones on defense right now, keep your eye in particular on number 51, the young man we pointed out before the game, Jeff Braswell. He's really had a remarkable season.
He has, Ray, and I suggest also that our fans looking in watch 41 Anthony Mays, a safety who's had an excellent season also. Both of those fellas were at one time freshmen here at Oklahoma State.
Pat Jones, the Cowboy head coach. Of all the coaches over the years that I've learned to know, Eddie, I have great difficulty of recalling any coach who so obviously enjoys what he is doing than does Pat Jones.
And part of that is surprise, I think. In June, he had no idea he's going to be a head coach this year. Jimmy Jones leaves, he becomes the head coach, and now he's one of the leading coaches in the country in terms of record.
From the 23-yard line of the Cowboys, their second possession. Timmons, the fullback. Thurman Thomas. So far, now there's a late penalty flag being thrown. Now, of the few running plays so far by the Cowboys, they have not been able to gain anything at all.
No, as a matter of fact, the first offensive down they had, a 1st and 10, was the first possession. They threw successfully. Running the ball, they have had virtually no success. They do have here a decision to make with a face mask penalty called against the Cyclones.
The measurement will be from the line of scrimmage, the 23-yard line. 5 yards by referee Sam Maphis. Did you see it there, Eddie?
You know, it was on the far side of the field. And
on the
frankly,
defense,
I did not see it, that official.
First down.
Thank you, Sam. Sam's a fellow Boulderite.
1st and 5, 28-yard line of Oklahoma State. We've played 4 minutes, and there's no score. Loose football. That was a fine play by Steve Little of the defense, and a turnover. And the Cowboys are in trouble.
That was very close. Sam Maphis had the difficulty of deciding, Sam Maphis, the referee, of whether or not the whistle had preceded the fumble. In this case, he took his time and in a deliberate fashion decided, in my opinion, very correctly, as we see here. Ball recovered by the very aggressive Iowa State defense, and Oklahoma State, no doubt, is having to deal with a very fired up Iowa State team when, in their own case, the emotions have to be deferred for a week a little.
Jim Lubers recovered the loose football, but it's 1st and 10. Iowa State, 23-yard line of Oklahoma State. And the first real scoring opportunity of the game. Wadka in motion. Here is Hansen. 20, 15, and a first down around the 11-yard line, maybe the 10-yard line. Hansen did a great bit of instant change of direction, and that usually means he has good field vision.
Well, you see Hansen here moving it sharply to his right. Now, he's able to do that because he's coming from 7 yards deep in the backfield, which is the advantage of the I formation. You got that depth in the backfield so that, as you see Hansen here, as he approaches the line of scrimmage, because of that depth, he does have a little more latitude to cut quickly back to his inside.
The ball directly on the 10-yard line, the first down of the game. Again, that tight end in motion. Hansen, and oh, there's a great play from the outside by cornerback Mark Moore, a sophomore from Nacogdoches, Texas.
Well, Mark Moore had come up onto the line of scrimmage and came on a blitz-like effort. He, I don't think, necessarily anticipated pass. As you see, he just came across the line of scrimmage, made the quick charge on Rich Hansen, and prevented him making that cut back to the inside, which he'd done on the previous play.
Now both wide receivers are in the game now. Henderson 89 and Minor 87 to the left. It is 2nd down at the 10-yard line of the Cowboys. Here's Hood. Touchdown.
And this is just a pure option play from the veer formation. This again is a veer formation as originally devised by Bill Yeoman, the coach of Houston. That particular option was handled beautifully by Alan Hood. He does have the keen running ability. As you can see, he fakes here as Richard Hansen drives to the inside. The linebackers and the interior linemen for Oklahoma State go for the fake, and bam, he makes the turn upfield and an excellent run for the touchdown.
Mark Backroat will try for point number 7, and we have about a 4-touchdown underdog, the Cyclones of Iowa State, leading by 6-0 after 5 minutes of play. make it lead by 7-0. And so our rain-drenched fans in all sorts of wet weather gear here at Oklahoma State's Lewis Field are just a bit stunned. This is the Cats Sports Network. The touchdown play again.
This end zone shot, an excellent shot by our cameraman in the end zone, shows that when the turn up by Alan Hood is made, there is such a wide open lane to the goal line that there's just no question. I'll tell you what is very key at this moment for the Oklahoma State coaches. Their team, and you see the drive is 3 plays, 23 yards, and only 50 seconds. The Oklahoma State team needs to make a definite comeback right now, because they certainly have invited the Cyclones to have confidence, to believe in their ability now to win the game, and certainly it's very apparent that the Iowa State Cyclones are very aroused to play. If Oklahoma State is going to avoid a disaster, they're going to have to get a surge going, because the momentum is unquestionably in the hands of the Cyclones at this point.
Bobby Riley is one of the 2 deep men. The other is Will Timmons. We've played 4 minutes and 57 seconds, and the underdog Cyclones have the lead as Backroat kicks off. A sailor to the short man at the 21-yard line, and practically no return by Jamie Harris. He's one of the Cowboys' great wide receivers. So the Cowboys, and as happens so many times, turnovers play a part in the outcome of games. In this case, Steve Little dropped Hilger, who lost the ball, recovered by Lubers. Now, the Cowboys go on offense from their own 23-yard line. Weimer is wide left, Harris wide right. A little collision, and Thomas gets only about a yard.
You know, Ray, you spoke a bit earlier of the swarming-like effect of the Oklahoma State defense, and that certainly has been characteristic of their defense. We saw right here, if anything, equal or even superior swarming effort by the Iowa State defense. They've demonstrated that throughout the game thus far, and that is a good indicator of how aroused each of the 2 teams actually is. And in this case, I think Iowa State is playing at the peak level, as they did, for instance, against Oklahoma 4 weeks ago.
There was a gain of a yard on that first down play. 2nd down 9. Hilger. And here is the first down to the tight end. He hits Barry Hanna, the senior out of Winfield, Kansas, and that's the Cowboys' initial first down of the game.
And it also is, as we see here, Rusty Hilger just drops back in a pure drawback shot. It is a little delay type of action. You can see that Barry Hanna has stayed at the line of scrimmage for a count or 2, then slips out after the linebackers have backed up. He catches the ball in front of him, makes a nice run for the 1st and 10.
Terrence Anthony made the tackle. Here's the tailback. Thurman Thomas for a couple. Now into the game is Malcolm Lewis, a speedster wide receiver, number 8 from Houston, Texas, a sophomore. Lewis will come to the near side, the short side, and Harris is to the wide side on 2nd down 8. Hilger to Thomas for around the 40-yard line.
Well, we saw here an outstanding play by Lester Williams coming over to make these defensive end. He came over chasing from the backside to make the tackle on the option play, and you see there Lester, number 45. He showed us the kind of quickness that people have talked about, of course, in the Oklahoma State defense.
This is a 3rd and 5 for the Oklahoma State Cowboys, trailing 7-0 with 8 minutes to play in the first quarter. Couldn't quite get the ball to Jamie Harris, and as a result, it's punt formation time. And remember, the last time, the first and only time that Cooper punted, it was nearly blocked. A big rush was put on by Iowa State. Billy McHugh is deep for the Cyclones. Big rush again, but not endangering the punt. Fair catch, McHugh, and Iowa State has excellent field position at the Cyclone 33. Iowa State with its third possession. The one possession, the result of a turnover, and resulted in an Iowa State touchdown. We'll be right back to Stillwater, Oklahoma. From the Cyclone 33, 1st and 10. Henderson wide right. It's a slot formation with the backs in an I. Richard Hansen, and there might have been the first evidence of how wet and treacherous the footing is today.
Well, normally you expect on AstroTurf, of course, to have so much better footing than you would on a natural turf with a wet field. But in this case, when you get as much water as we've got, as we look at Tracy Henderson, one of the great ones in the country, but when you got as much water as we've got there, without question, you're going to have some slipping. And you can see that Henderson ranks 4th in receiving in the country with 59 catches and 3rd in the Big 8 with reception yardage in history.
2nd down and 12. Hansen squeezes a couple of yards, picked up about 4. Hansen, incidentally, very much the workhorse back of the Cyclone offense, as coached by Jim Kreiner. He's carried the ball coming into the game, for example, 141 times. Davis, the fullback, Tommy Davis, has carried it 63 times. So Hansen has been busy. And for the Cyclones, who lead 7-0, it is 3rd and 8 from their own 35 with less than 7 minutes to play in the first quarter. Allen Hood, and a good defensive effort. Boy, that was Rod Brown, who almost had a touchdown.
Well, that would be nothing new for Rod Brown. And if you'll see here, this is actually a good throw by Allen Hood, though it could have been a little further to his outside, but it was just excellent timing on the part of Rod Brown, who's been a very savvy and experienced defensive back in his senior year now at Oklahoma State.
Robbie Minor was the intended receiver. Bobby Riley is back for Jim Thompson's punt. Oh, there's a fine punt. Inside the 20, inside the 15, and splash, squish, but an excellent effort by Jim Thompson.
That is a
of the Cyclones.
Excuse me, Ray. That is a 55-yard kick, and in these kind of weather conditions, that's extraordinary. It's extraordinary any time, but when you're wet, yeah, watch the form. This is really extraordinary because first, your footing is not too good. You see he's planted there as he swings that right foot, and look how high his foot comes, clear up to even with the top of his head. And to do that in these weather conditions with the footing a bit slippery is a real piece of art.
Now the Cowboys have not had good field position. They start from their 10 and hit behind the line by Jeff Braswell. We told you about him before the start of the game, the middle linebacker who has had such a brilliant season this year. And as a result, Charles Crawford is dropped for a loss back around the 8-yard line.
And Jeff Braswell is elated, and you can see that he is still imparting that energy and enthusiasm to his team, and that's the great benefit of having a player of his talent, but of his leadership as well.
2nd and 12. Bobby Riley, not enough for a first down, but beyond the 15 to the 17 with coverage by Terrence Anthony.
Well, that is the 3rd completion for Oklahoma State, and it's interesting that all 3 of their throws have come in their end of the field, and frankly, they've only been in their end of the field. But it is interesting that to this point, we have not yet seen the pass thrown successfully by Iowa State to Tracy Henderson, but it does indicate by those 3 Oklahoma State completions, you can throw it on this wet day.
That conceivably could cause Barry Moore's premature charge, could present Oklahoma State with a first down. We'll see.
While Sam Mavis is marking off that 5-yard encroachment penalty, and here Sam will give us the word.
We got dead ball, encroachment on the offense. 2nd down, first down.
First down. 22-yard line of the Cowboys. Bobby Riley out to the left. Jamie Harris to the right, or Terry Weimer off to the right. Crawford. 3 very tough yards where he ran into, among others, Jim Lubers, who had recovered the earlier fumble by Oklahoma State, and it led to the only score of the game as Iowa State leads Oklahoma State 7-0 before a very wet and somewhat cold crowd that includes 9 bowl scouts from 7 major bowls. Second down, 7. That's Weimer for a first down at the 34-yard line. And that pass, Eddie, had to be thrown right on the money, and it was.
Well, we talked about the fact that Rusty Hilgers has maximized the use of his potentials, and we see it right here. Rusty fires this ball right on the mark, as you pointed out, but he also throws it with such authority. And the ball, if you'll notice, the ball, when you see a close shot of it, looks darker than normal. That's because it's wet. Throwing the ball not only slippery, but it's heavier.
First and 10 from the Cowboy 34, trailing 7-0 late in the first quarter. Hilger with good protection. And this is a first down around the 50-yard line as Charles Crawford, the tailback, drifted out of the backfield, and the free safety, Anthony Mays, made a saving tackle.
Rusty Hilger, along with the accomplishment that he demonstrates by all his hard work and the success he's had here, not having yet thrown an incompletion, I believe he's had one, but Rusty, in that case, threw that beautiful little touch drop over ball. Again, nice work of art with a wet ball.
This is the farthest advance for the Cowboys, the 50-yard line with a first and 10. Fumble by Crawford. And it's a second turnover by the Cowboys here in the first quarter. I don't think Crawford ever really had a handle on the ball. And in on the play was Jeff Braswell, number 51. Now, whether he caused the fumble or recovered it or did both remains to be seen. But the Cowboys have been guilty of 2 turnovers.
Well, I think we'll see that Jeff Braswell is really just putting pressure, but the entire Iowa State defense has kept the kind of pressure that it changes the timing a little bit as they get penetration.
Just across the 50. First and 10, Iowa State, leading 7-0. Tight end in motion. Here comes Hansen, but for only about 2 yards.
Number 37, Richard Hansen, the Iowa State ball carrier.
Matt Munger and Leslie O'Neal are in on the stop, and as a result, Hansen picks up only about a yard. Pat Jones consulting with his coaching staff. So very much is at stake for the Cowboys today. Robbie Minor goes wide right. Tracy Henderson has yet to catch a pass. He's wide to the left. Second down, 9. Inside the 45 goes fullback Tommy Davis.
Tommy Davis, the Iowa State ball carrier.
Well, I think we got to point out that the keen effort that we're seeing on the part of Iowa State is a real tribute to their preparation. When you're playing the final game and you have no great incentive when you know you're not going to have a winning record, it's a little tough sometimes to get your people aroused to the extent that Iowa State is.
Third down and 4. Split backs, no longer the eye. There's a little draw and a great hit by Ricky Adams on Tommy Davis.
Well, Ricky Adams, Hutchinson, Kansas junior college transfer to Oklahoma State, proved the value of the junior college program to the major colleges. That's now occurring.
So it's Jim Thompson time. The punter for the Cyclones had a 55-yard effort the last time. Bobby Riley, in case he has an opportunity to handle this punt, is standing just short of the 10-yard line of Oklahoma State. Whoa, high snap. And this will be a touchback. So despite a second turnover by Oklahoma State in the first quarter, their very stout defense came to the rescue. And the Cowboys will have the ball after the touchback at their own 20 when we return to Stillwater, Oklahoma. The only score of our game on this very damp day in Stillwater, Oklahoma, and a somewhat chilly day as a result of an Oklahoma State turnover. And Alan Hood scored for Iowa State, and the Cyclones lead 7-0. Hilger, and still having great difficulty in getting anything out of the running game. This time it's Thurman Thomas. Ran into Tim Iverson, one of the 3 linebackers. Lester Williams, defensive lineman. Holding, says referee Sam Mathis.
Captain, who's the captain?
And we start to find out what's going around the rest of the country as Florida in the second quarter leads Kentucky 6-3. A game that a lot of people thought might be a blowout. Ohio State first quarter 7-0 over Michigan. Cats game in the East. Syracuse 7, Boston College 0. A big surprise and being covered by Cat Sports. Notre Dame Penn State 7-7 tie. And Ray, we discussed that one. A lot of people thought it would be that close.
Okay, we got holding on the offense. First down. There you go.
It is now a first and between 19 and 20 for a first down between the 10 and 11 yard line of the Cowboys, and they have really had a struggle here in the first quarter. Here's Thurman Thomas, a bit of a crease, and he gets about 5 yards out of it.
Now on defense, if your opponent has a 1st and 20, you play just a little bit more of a soft defense, not quite as aggressive, because the more aggressive you are, the more the likelihood you get upfield and they perhaps can break through and go all the way or for a long run. Here you see a little softer. You do see that they allow about 5 yards as Lester Williams makes the tackle, but they still have a 2nd and 14. A lot of cushion there.
Malcolm Lewis and Terry Weimer are being sent in by those coaches from the sidelines, alternating as messengers. It is 2nd down and 15. A fake to the tailback. Good defensive play by Terrence Anthony, flipping the ball away from tight end Barry Hanna.
Well, Terrence was in a man-on-man coverage situation, and what you'll see here is Rusty Hilger rolls out to his left, sets, fires, and now you're going to see Terrence Anthony just moving across his left arm out. The reason he goes with his left arm, if he puts his right arm in this case, or the one near the receiver, he's liable to bump the receiver and get called for the interference. He made a nice play to get the left hand up, deflecting the ball just out of reach.
It is now 3rd and 15 for the Cowboys. A little draw play. Thurman Thomas breaking tackles and shy of a first down by a couple. And Jim Lubers was in on that defensive effort.
And I pointed out, excuse me, Ray, I pointed out that you do play a little softer defense when you got on 1st and 20. They did allow more gain. In fact, they allowed here 13 yards on the 2 running plays that Oklahoma State attempted, but of course it was a successful softer defense, and it leaves a 4th and 7.
Harry Cooper. Billy McHugh is the deep man for the Cyclones. Left-footed punt. McHugh fumbles a ball around midfield. As wild scramble. There was such a wild scramble for the football that one of the officials got belted pretty hard, but now we have a Cyclone turnover. Mike Hudson was around the football of the Cowboys.
Well, what happens here, and as you see, the ball is coming in kind of a low trajectory. It's a little more difficult to handle just because it's wet. Your footing is not so good. Free ball, and that turnover now all of a sudden gives Oklahoma State its first opportunity out anywhere beyond their own 30-yard line.
And it comes with 28 seconds left in the first quarter, and Iowa State leading 7-0. Harris to the left and Weimer to the right. Hilger on first down. He is going deep, and was it caught by Harris? Yes.
Yes, sir.
There was a brilliant catch by Jamie Harris inside the 15-yard line.
Well, that ball was just so perfectly thrown, too. Rusty Hilger's demonstrated experience here by getting it up so it drops down over the defender. You'll see he elevates the ball up, and now you're going to see its trajectory comes down just out of reach of the defender, but into the hands of the receiver. And another thing that was particularly important about this was the position of the official, who was in perfect position to see that it was a catch as he was going down.
A first down and 10. Thurman Thomas to the 10-yard line, about 3 hard-fought yards where he runs into Cedar Rapids' Lester Williams.
Well, those were tough yards to gain right there. Got just short of 3 yards, but down there in that 4-down situation, that's enough. If you make 3 yards 4 times, you're in the end zone.
And so our hardy fans at Lewis Field here in Stillwater, Oklahoma, roar their approval as the Cowboys have their first scoring threat of the game, trailing Iowa State. Cyclones 7, the Cowboys nothing. We'll be back in a moment. As we look at the first quarter statistics, note 90 yards passing. Rusty Hilger came into the game needing a total of 418, a total today and next week, to become the all-time Cowboy passing leader. Second down 7. Cowboys 10-yard line of Iowa State. Here goes Thomas to the 6-yard line, where it will be third down and 3.
Well, he makes 5 yards on that attempt, and certainly with 3 on the first down, 5 on that. Now, you see Braswell first charge straight up into the center, but immediately get off, get to the outside, and be a very key part of the tackle. Another demonstration of his outstanding ability, but particularly the keen effort he makes with great consistency.
It is now a third down and 3. The wide receivers are still in the game. Riley to the right, Weimer to the left. Third and 3. Cyclones 6-yard line. Hilger throwing back to Timmons. That might be enough for a first down, but let me tell you something. That was a tremendous effort by linebacker Dennis Gibson. He definitely prevented a touchdown.
Well, he showed that he's particularly alert to begin with, even to be on that side of the field. The fake was so good that the great tendency is to run with the flow of the quarterback. He held his ground. He made a great reaction and took an excellent angle to get back in it. Dennis Gibson was from Ankeny, Iowa, was responsible for saving the touchdown.
Now there is a measurement. It is very close to the 3-yard line. That's how far Oklahoma State had to go to get a first and goal. Is it? Yes, says referee Sam Mathis. First and goal at the 3, but it's obvious today, particularly on the ground, this Cyclone defense is going to give up yards very grudgingly.
Well, another thing that we just saw is the innovative approach of college coaches, Big 8 college coaches, particularly with a screen pass being thrown down here from the 8-yard line. That's a very innovative thing that would not have been done in the Big 8 10 years ago.
Now there are no wide receivers. What do we call this? A full house backfield? Thurman Thomas struggling for maybe a yard. He ran into Braswell, among others. Let's see who's on the bottom amongst the defenders. 34 is Thomas for the Cowboys. Defensive left end Lester Williams was in the game. That third running back is number 2, Ken Zachary.
And the reason for having the 3 running backs behind the quarterback is that 2 of them can lead up in there to block, giving a little bit more impetus to the effort by the offense.
1 yard was the gain. It is second and goal. And we had premature motion on the right side of the offensive line.
Well, that's your critical play. Those yards are very tough to come by against an excellent defense such as Iowa State is putting up there. Now to give up 5 of them through penalty is a real unfortunate mistake for Oklahoma State.
Now Anthony Mays is checking back into the defense, the free safety number 41, with the situation a bit different. Instead of being second and goal at the 2, it's second and goal at the 7. Here's the referee.
Dead ball, illegal procedure on the offense, second down.
Well, that 5 yards they gave up were the 5 that they got earlier in this series, and it does necessitate now that they think about something innovative again, a pass perhaps.
Harris is in, wide receiver to the right. Second and goal. To Harris, touchdown.
Ray, you commented earlier on the accuracy with which Rusty Hilliers is throwing the ball, and on that out cut, it is so important to be accurate, because if it's left a little behind the receiver, as you see here, as Rusty rolls to his right side, watch that the ball goes out in front of the receiver. If it's a little behind, of course, the defender has an excellent chance to pick it off.
One of the great kickers in the conference and in the country, Larry Roach, number 9. And we have a tie at Stillwater, Oklahoma. Our Big 8 conference game of the week. Cowboys 7, Cyclones 7, and 13:25 left to play in the first half. Stay with us.
I feel a great deal better and relieved because momentum had slipped away from them right at the start. Had they allowed Iowa State another score before they got back into the game, Iowa State certainly has demonstrated this year that with momentum, they're tough, and they got the confidence. They could have been the big upset team.
Larry Roach kicking, and that's beyond Hansen.
That's a free ball.
At the last instant, you could almost see Richard Hansen saying, uh-oh, that's up for grabs.
You can see him remember.
So the Cyclones will have it at their own 20-yard line. 7-7. You know, anymore, Eddie, I hesitate to label any game as an upset. Really?
Well, you had mentioned that briefly to me earlier, Ray, in the season, and I agree with you because teams are so nearly even now. With this limitation of only 30 new players per year, everybody's got a shot at good players, and everybody has good players.
Henderson to the left, Minor to the right, split backs, Hansen and Davis, Allen Hood at quarterback. Whoop. Leslie O'Neal, number 99, really led the charge on Tommy Davis.
Well, our production crew very wisely has isolated on Leslie O'Neal here, and you can see the strength and quickness and the agility that he demonstrates. But you see another thing demonstrated by the entire Oklahoma State defense. They've gotten a resurgence of confidence and enthusiasm by having gotten back into the game with the score now tied at 7-7.
Gain of 1. Second down 9, 21-yard line of Iowa State. Early second quarter. Allen Hood. Gets about 4 yards to the 25-yard line. Mark Moore and David Webb made the defensive play.
And Allen Hood, who we see there, got a very well-deserved and well-earned 4-yard gain because he was rushed severely in the backfield. He made a nice move to get to the outside and then ran very well to pick up those 4 yards.
Wendell Yancey is covering Tracy Henderson, who is split out to the left. Hansen in motion. Not quite able to get the ball to wide receiver Robbie Minor, and as a result, the crowd is really getting into the game now as the Cyclones will be forced to punt to Bobby Riley.
Well, I know that we are being listened to and viewed by quite a number of people who opted to stay home today rather than come to this stadium. You will want to know that you are well represented, as you see here. People came in rain gear. Their enthusiasm, though they're not great in numbers, is superb.
It is 4th down and 5. 12 minutes remaining in the first half. Jim Thompson to punt. He's already had a 55-yarder to his credit. Bobby Riley, fair catch, 40-yard line of the Cowboys. So the Oklahoma State Cowboys, who have had to battle from behind into a 7-7 tie as it stands right now, will have possession, excellent position at their own 40. This is the Cats Sports Network. The Cowboy is here today. There he is. Sean Jones is now the tailback, the leading runner for the Cowboys coming into today's game, number 3. 1st and 10 Cowboys, their own 40. And there goes Jones. Straightened up by Lester Williams and Tim Iverson.
We have referred now twice to the great scurrying defenses, but Sean Jones, who's had an outstanding career and has great quickness and agility and is a breakaway guy, was not able to get any significant yardage again because of that swarming defense by Iowa State.
2nd and 7. Jones again. Being strung out. Gets to the 46-yard line, where it will be 3rd down and 4. And Jim Lubers was the first to make contact along with Tim Iverson, and we're going to have a change now. Jones will go out, and Charles Crawford, number 32, will be the tailback, and Malcolm Lewis, number 8, will replace Terry Weimer as a wide receiver. 7-7 score with about 11 minutes remaining in the first half. 3rd and 4 Oklahoma State at the Cowboy 46. Hilger. This is the tailback, Crawford. All the way down to the 27-yard line. Where Anthony Mays made the tackle. Well, that's twice that Hilger has rolled one way and thrown back the other for significant yardage.
Well, it's a beautifully designed play. You can see that Crawford kind of came by Hilger as Hilger rolled to his right. And then Crawford just sneaks out the backside of the formation. But the interesting feature of the play is that linebackers are normally assigned to pick up a back coming out of the backfield. But when the quarterback is running to the opposite direction of where the offensive back comes rolling out, it's very difficult to pick him up.
First down. This is Crawford. Broke one tackle. Crawford running very hard. Finally brought down by Mays and Williams.
Well, Charles Crawford, coming out of Bristol, Oklahoma, was known to be one of the great young candidates as a running back in the United States. Very highly recruited. He had some physical problems earlier this year. He's had injuries that have slowed him some, but you see at 6'2", 230, he has the strength to go along with the outstanding speed that has been a part of his excellent ability. He's starting now to hit his stride as a sophomore.
Gain of 7. Thomas replaces Crawford at tailback at the 20-yard line of Iowa State.
Now, it's very possible, though I assume that we're going to see this called as a interference penalty. It's very possible that the officials will huddle and say it was not a catchable ball. You see a huddle going on with the officials on the field at this time, and I think they're probably going to say it was not a catchable ball, so that although there was contact made, that
they're going to call the and this is going to cause Jim Kreiner to go out. Watch this play now, and as we watch the replay, let it be known that Jim Kreiner is saying, hey, wait a minute.
Well, you see the ball flew over the head of the receiver and the defender, and Sam Maphis, the referee, then holds counsel with the collection of officials. They all have an opportunity to have input as to how they saw it from their vantage point. If they had concurred that the ball was not catchable, even though contact had occurred, it would not be an infraction. In this case, they decided it might have been catchable. They ruled it an interference penalty. It's 1st and 10 at the 13 for the Cowboys.
And the Cowboys with a great opportunity to move ahead in this 7-7 game. With 9.5 minutes left in the first half. Wide open is Weimer. To about the 2-yard line. This might be enough for a first down.
Tell you what's impressive about the Cowboys is we do have a flag on the ground also. It looks like a late flag right at the point of the tackle. Hilger's nice action. He's a little quick fake to his right, and he looks back to his left. And
a personal foul called against the defense.
Well, I'm sure Iowa State is frustrated. They had pretty good control of the game early. They're making a super effort, and then to have Oklahoma State come back as they have, first as a result of a turnover on the punt at midfield, and now Oklahoma State striking back with good drive. And let's hear what Sam Maphis has to say about the play.
We got a dead ball, personal foul against the white. First down.
First and goal at the 1. Short yardage offense from behind the defense. Our ground level camera. Full house backfield. Zachary has joined Timmons and Thomas. Fumble and a flag. Several flags.
Well, I think the defense for Iowa State, again, being eager, being keyed up, probably moved a little bit early.
Well, we'll let the officials sort this one out. Offside defense.
Offsides against Iowa State.
So this will be an 18-inch penalty.
And this is a really tough test for the defense. Iowa State, and again, here is the official.
Offside, white, first down.
But Iowa State's defense has played very aggressively and very effectively against the run. This is the supreme test.
First and goal. 2 tight ends. Full house backfield. Thomas. Touchdown. Two officials immediately spotted the ball, penetrating enough that it was a touchdown, and the Cowboys, after trailing 7-0, have moved into a 13-7 lead.
Well, we'll see Thomas going up over the top, and he does make a nice leaping effort, but I tell you, he does not make this by much. Iowa State meets him, and they meet him in numbers and in force, and while the official ruled he did break the plane of the goal line, it was certainly by the slightest of margins.
Larry Roach blocked. So
Pat Jones has some query to make about that play, and actually he's giving a little encouragement to Roach, which I think is a very wise thing. This has to be a weather-created problem because Roach has been such an outstanding kicker with such great and consistent success over his whole career.
I'll say this, the coaching staffs are really into this game. We have a beauty going. The Cowboys are leading by 6, 13-7. Incidentally, Larry Roach came into the game successful on 26 of 29 points after touchdown. So now make it successful on 27 out of 31. And Roach will kick off to either Posey or Hansen. And it seems to be a bit brighter now, Eddie, here in Stillwater, Oklahoma. Some of the umbrellas are still up, but it appears the rain has at least diminished considerably. This is Posey, and he will not return it. So let's see if the Cyclones can generate something in the way of an offensive thrust right now with 9:03 left to play in the first half.
Well, the scoring drive was 60 yards in 6 plays and took 2.5 minutes. It is now incumbent upon the Iowa State Cyclones to take advantage of this possession, because the failure to kick the extra point leaves them still in position that with the touchdown, of course, and the extra point, they could go back ahead and regain the momentum. And this has been a seesaw momentum game so far.
Iowa State has still not been able to get the ball to their great wide receiver, Tracy Henderson. He's lined up wide to the right. Hansen drives in the grasp of Matt Munger for some 3 yards.
Well, Matt Munger is another interesting fellow. He came to Oklahoma State University as a freshman walk-on with little intention of playing and certainly not much expectation to be the very successful and very outstanding player he has been. Comes from Miami, Oklahoma.
2nd down 7, 23-yard line of the Cyclones. Now Henderson is off to the left, working against cornerback Wendell Yancey. In motion, tight end Wadka. Hansen again. To about the 27-yard line, where the Cyclones will have a 3rd down 3. And again, it is Munger along with Washington who made the stop. Alan Hood, the junior quarterback from St. Louis, Missouri, who had to step in when Espinosa was injured.
Well, something that, again, we discussed before the game and we're curious about is whether or not we would see Tracy Henderson making a lot of catches today. We also thought maybe Oklahoma State would be a little conservative. It's been the other way around.
A 3rd and 3. Hansen. Nowhere to go. Rodney Harding beat the block. And Hansen is dropped for a loss.
With this ground level shot, we see what the defense sees as Harding breaks through, and well, a great pressure defense. We see again that swarming effort. Look at all the bright orange shirts swarming around the ball.
So it's Jim Thompson punting time again with 7:10 to play in the first half. And Bobby Riley back for the expected punt. Not very much height, not too deep. It is across the 50 and out of bounds, and the Cowboys have once again tremendous field position. They launched their 2nd touchdown drive from their 40. Now Oklahoma State will have it at the Oklahoma State 48-yard line.
And this telecast is authorized under broadcasting rights granted by Cat Sports. and is intended solely for the entertainment of its audience. Any publication, rebroadcast, or retransmission without the express written consent of Cat Sports is prohibited.
With 3 wide receivers, will the Cowboys be going to the air? They've been very successful through the air. Up. Well, a pretty good gain on first down. Sean Jones checked back in. That's his 3rd carry of the game. He did not start. Thurman Thomas started at tailback. Charles Crawford has seen time at that position, and of course it illustrates the tremendous depth at running back that the Cowboys do have.
About as good depth as any team in the country at both the fullback and tailback positions.
2nd down, 5, 47-yard line of Iowa State. A first down at the 41-yard line to Malcolm Lewis.
And that pass was just caught by inches. And if you'll see here, Hilger looks to his left, then turns back. And I'll tell you what effect that has. The defensive back who just gets there and makes the tackle was a little bit diverted by Hilger's looking to his left, because that defensive back is looking at Hilger as he comes away from the center. Hilger looks away, he looks away, then the ball comes to his receiver.
Still 3 wide receivers, no tight end. First down, Oklahoma State. Hilger looking to the air again. And there had to have been a misread. Weimer broke to the post to the inside. And Kevin Williams, the defensive back, who was playing it to the outside, almost came up with an interception.
Well, Weimer and Hilger quite apparently did not have a coordination of understanding, but Weimer also, in making the turn to the inside, slid on this wet turf, fell, and was completely out of the play.
2nd and 10, 41-yard line of Iowa State. Less than 6 minutes remaining in the first half. Hilger, he's going deep for Harris. Couldn't quite get a hold of that floater at the 12, and Kevin Williams was defending.
Well, that really was a floater. Hilger threw it in a very high arch. You'll see here that Hilger, again, just in the drop back, lofts it very high, and this is coming down from such a high angle that it's very difficult to make the adjustment to the outside. And as you can see, it might have been a catchable ball, but it was just too difficult. And Jeff Wodka, I beg your pardon,
Jamie Harris
was just not able to make the necessary adjustment.
A 3rd and 10 play. This is Sean Jones, short of a first down at the 32-yard line, short by about a yard.
And Sean Jones making a nice play, but it's going to be here just a little less than was needed for the 1st and 10. Nice pass over the middle on the little delay as Sean Jones sneaks out of the backfield. Again, very difficult for the linebacker to find him and cover him and key down. And Hilger is staying in the game. It would appear that Oklahoma State at the 32-yard line with about 4 feet to go is going to make the attempt.
Here's that short yardage offense. Full house backfield. This is Zachary. No. The Cyclone defense is equal to it. Iowa State is really playing hard.
Well, what a great effort. And you're going to notice that Iowa State has among its players 10 who have on red helmets, cardinal color helmets. And let's have a quick look at this remarkable stop, because Zachary makes a nice turn up into the hole, but bam, what solid fill as Braswell, who is one of those red hats, comes up and meets head on with Zachary and actually throws him for a bit of a loss.
At the 35-yard line of Iowa State, the Cyclones trailing 13-7. Allen Hood to the air. Fine catch by Henderson, his first of the game, near midfield, and a flag down way behind the line. Let's see what we have. A holding call against Iowa State.
And while we have this moment as the penalty is being imposed, let me clarify again why you see 10 of the Iowa State players wearing cardinal color headgears while the rest wear gold. The coaching staff at Iowa State, Jim Kreiner and his staff, select, as the season gets toward its end, those players who they feel have played well enough to qualify as all Big 8 caliber players, and they go ahead and pick those on their own team who have played with that kind of quality throughout the year. Those 10 then receive the Cardinals headgears to play in for the remainder of the season.
One of the officials, the referee's microphone is open, and you had the voice of one of the assistants screaming, "Stay on your feet!" We thought we better explain where that came from.
Let me also point out that from a coaching standpoint, you're going to say some things during the game, such as stay on your feet, that really aren't necessary, but there's so much part of the emotion and the desire to see your fellows do well that you verbalize a lot of things that really probably don't end up helping a whole lot.
Well, let's see. There's been somewhat of a discussion here as to where the ball should be spotted. And it's going to go back to the 25-yard line of Iowa State. So
I do think that, again, as a result of excellent camera work, we will get a picture of the holding. You see that our photographers are in position to, yeah, you see it right here, just to the center, number 22.
That's
yeah, he
Tommy.
was just holding onto the belt in the back, and
that was Tommy Davis, the fullback, who got spotted in the holding infraction. But Jim Kreiner, meanwhile, is out on the field talking with the officials.
Yeah, he'd like a little understanding of what prompted that long discussion among the officials, and I assume that the discussion was around whether the penalty should be imposed from the line of scrimmage or from the point of the foul. Yeah, as we get other scores coming in, South Carolina having a struggle with Navy, 7-7 tie in the second quarter. And Florida now moves ahead of Kentucky 12-3 at halftime. Oh, what a big game this one is. Ohio State 7, Michigan 3, and one of the great classics per year. And another look at a Cats game. Syracuse 7, Boston College 7 in the second quarter.
Oh boy, that was.
And how about this? Notre Dame 24, Penn State 7 in the second quarter.
It is now 1st and 20 for Iowa State from the Cyclone 25. Minor in motion. Hansen is very fortunate to get back to the line of scrimmage because Ricky Adams was waiting for Hansen.
Well, another feature of the Oklahoma State defense that has stood them well throughout the season is the ability for all of their players to come up with big plays. And Ricky Adams that time was the man, and you'll see that Ricky just slides over from his linebacker position, plants his feet, makes a nice solid hit on tackle.
Second down, still about 20 from the split back formation. Couldn't quite get the ball to his tight end, David Smolt. And it's going to be 3rd and 20.
You know, a bit earlier I'd made an observation that Oklahoma State had thrown the ball more than Iowa State had, and a little unexpected. We see Allen Hood here throwing the ball, and you'll see that Allen first feels the pressure a little as he turns and throws to his left. It's just a little out of reach, and the real difficult thing when you've had to make a quarterbacking change during the season, as Iowa State did with the loss of Alex Espinoza, is to get the experience level that the other people have.
So now it is 3rd and 20. Oklahoma State is leading 13-7. This is for Henderson. And a flag is down at the Oklahoma State 42-yard line. There was contact between a defender, Adam Hines, the free safety, and Tracy Henderson. Now it's Oklahoma State's opportunity to say, who, me?
We're now also going to see the penalty imposed as a result of a change of rules, and we'll get a good look at how the interference occurred. See, Allen Hood drops it up high and between two Oklahoma State defenders as they close. Tracy Henderson just kind of gets caught in the lock, and there is contact made, but you'll notice that the penalty was imposed from the line of scrimmage. It is no longer a penalty that allows the offensive team to have all the yardage.
First down as a result of the penalty. Cyclone 40-yard line. 4:05 to play first half. And we had premature movement on the left side of the offensive line. Incidentally, I said there was contact with Adam Hines. It may have been Mark Moore, the cornerback, who actually got his feet tangled up a bit with Tracy Henderson.
I think you're right. I think that Mark, in following Tracy from the outside in, did get entangled. You know, it's a little strange this late in the season to see as many illegal procedures and encroachment penalties as we've had today. But I think it's a result of the great keyed-up effort that we're seeing and the great keyed-up preparation that both of these teams came in with.
1st and 15 after the 5-yard penalty. Pass complete. This is Henderson. Fumble. Adam Hines has the loose football. And now it is a second Iowa State turnover. Mark Moore made the hit. Adam Hines made the recovery.
It's a nice throw. This by Allen Hood is right on target. And the effort here by Tracy Henderson to get upfield is just one of those extreme efforts that also prompts a little vulnerability as the ball slips away, and Oklahoma State again takes advantage.
Wendell Yancey, with his right arm, had forced the ball loose. So with 3:55 left in the first half, the Cowboys have the ball at their own 48 and a 6-point lead. Hilger immediately to the air. Bobby Riley hit out of bounds at the 47-yard line of Iowa State. Hilger came into the game needing 418 yards to become the all-time Oklahoma State passing leader. He is well over 100 yards now. Incidentally, that pass that was completed to Henderson was the first completion of the day for Allen Hood. 2nd down, 5. To the 44-yard line goes Charles Crawford, where it will be 3rd down, 2. And this will bring wide receiver Terry Weimer into the game. It will bring a defensive change. Terrence Anthony is coming in at one of the cornerback positions for Iowa State. Now the Cowboys have all 3 of their timeouts remaining. Iowa State has 2. 3:23 to play in the half. Hilger to Malcolm Lewis, and a good hit by Kevin Williams kept that ball from being completed for a 1st down at least.
Well, Oklahoma State has taken advantage with the quick pass. We commented a bit earlier as Hilger looks to his right here quickly and then turns back, throws the little slant pass to his left. They've had success with it in the past. It is a good 3rd and middle range distance play, such as was the case there, 3rd and 4, but well defended on that occasion by Iowa State.
Cooper to punt, or will he get it away? Just partially blocked, I believe. And Iowa State's going to have pretty good position here at their own 33-yard line. Actually, Cooper did a good job of getting that punt off at all.
He did a remarkable job, and it was partially blocked. But
Lewis Field's clock shows 3 minutes and 1 second left to play in the first half. The Cowboys, after trailing 7-0, lead Iowa State 13-7. Will return in a moment. Warren Thompson, number 91, has checked into that Oklahoma State defense, that defensive left end.
And in defense, you see nationally ranked Oklahoma State defensively. Scoring defense 4th, total defense 9th, rushing defense 10th. And this late in the season, that's a definite indication that this is one of the outstanding defenses in the country.
A 1st and 10 for Iowa State from the Cyclone 32-yard line. Hansen in motion. Allen Hood to Hansen. And that was Rod Brown who came up and had visions of yet another interception and a possible touchdown.
Rod Brown has been an outstanding player for Oklahoma State in that secondary that has clearly been one of the best secondaries in the Big 8 in recent years. They've had innumerable interceptions, 4 touchdowns.
It is 2nd and 10 with 2:55 left in the half. Fake to the fullback, and Hood carries for about 3 yards or so. where he runs into Ricky Adams
Gain of 2.
and Warren Thompson.
Brought down by Thompson and Adams.
It would appear from that play selection that the Cyclones are going to play it fairly close to the vest here, trailing only by 6 in a game where they were listed a tremendous underdog. 3rd and 8. That was almost caught by the tight end, Smolt. Almost intercepted, then almost caught by Hansen. It is 4th down.
Number 82. 4th down, Iowa State.
So Bobby Riley will be back for the expected punt from Jim Thompson with 2:13 to play in the half, and we keep in mind that the Cowboys have 3 timeouts remaining. Good snap. Good kick. Fair catch. 26-yard line of the Cowboys. 2:06 to play in the first half. It has been surprising to the extent that the Cowboys fell behind early by 7-0.
A 39-yard
When an Oklahoma State fumble was recovered by Iowa State, turned into an Allen Hood touchdown.
I would say that at this point, the difference in the game thus far has been the success of the passing game. Oklahoma State has had outstanding success, a high percentage of success, while Allen Hood at this point has hit only 1 of 7 passes for 16 yards.
New fullback Kelly Cook. Tailback is Thomas. Nowhere to go for Thurman Thomas.
Thurman Thomas, the ball carrier.
See who was waiting for him. Steve Little for 1. Tim Iverson for another.
Gain of 1.
1 yard. 2nd down 9. Clock running. Riley will come to the left. Weimer goes wide right. 2nd down 9. Hilger. Good catch by Riley at the 32-yard line, short of a first down. And he did not get out of bounds, so the clock continues to run.
If you become very effective at throwing that little quick out, it's only maybe a 5 to 6 to 7 yard gain unless you can break away with it, which you usually cannot. But if you become very good at it, as Oklahoma State has, it becomes just as effective as just a basic running play.
And the Cowboys have elected not to take advantage of their 3 timeouts. Less than a minute now remaining in the half. Intercepted. This is Braswell, 33-yard line of Oklahoma State.
And with the ball at the 33, they certainly have a good opportunity to kick a field goal to get it back up within 3 points. And they have 2 timeouts remaining to try to accomplish that in these last 43 seconds. Nice interception, just perfect position, and quite apparently Rusty Hilger, in looking for a receiver, was not able to find a receiver, but also did not see Braswell just waiting. He was obscured by one of the defensive or offensive linemen, no doubt.
At the 33-yard line of the Cowboys, Allen Hood has a question of referee Sam Mathis.
I think he wants him to dry the ball, and they used to in the Big 8 Conference. Yeah, they're getting a dry ball. A few years ago, the Big 8 Conference, they would fold a towel on a wet day like this and actually put a dry towel under the ball and snap it from that dry towel. For some reason, they have quit doing that, and unquestionably, the balls do get saturated.
So with the dry ball, center Shannon Maudsley will snap it to Allen Hood with 43 seconds left in the half. Big hole. Tommy Davis.
Tommy Davis, the ball carrier.
Picks up perhaps 5 to 6 yards, and the Cyclones take one of their 2 remaining timeouts with 33 seconds left in the half.
Iowa State.
And I know that there would be question asked as to why would they go with a conservative running play up the middle in a situation such as this, where they do want to try to get a field goal for the half. First, I think they ran that kind of a conservative play because they feel they got the least chance of turning the ball over on a wet day such as today. They made a nice play of it, picking up 6 yards. They also, I'm sure, want to keep the ball, if at all possible, near that middle of the middle area of the field, and they've accomplished that. This is a good position. They had to get about 10 yards to feel satisfied that they're in range of a reasonably sure field goal.
Incidentally, during our halftime intermission, amongst other features, Eddie Crowder and I will be talking with a representative here from the Sugar Bowl, Jim Higgins, and we'll be interested to hear his observations of this first half. Because as we told you, the Cowboys are on the shopping list of almost all of the major bowls. 9 bowl representatives here today. 2nd and 4. 28-yard line of Oklahoma State. This is Robbie Minor, and he has a first down inside the 15 at the 13. And that play took only 5 seconds.
Well, Robbie did another very smart and very necessary thing in the cause of the Cyclones. He ran out of bounds. That getting out of bounds stopped the clock and preserved the 1 timeout, which they do have remaining, which they now can save and use in order to kick the field goal when they decide that's the thing to do.
Minor will go to the left this time. Henderson, who has caught 1 pass today, is to the right. Or did he catch 2? 1 or 2? This is a 1st and 10. Wide open. Short yardage to the 10-yard line. Tommy Davis. Now 18 seconds. The clock's running. 17. And there is the final timeout that the Cyclones can call here in the first half with 17 seconds left in the half.
And a look at the defense at the halftime and the bowl picture, the Big 8 overview, and stats and highlights all coming up on Cat Sports at halftime.
When play resumes, Iowa State will have a 2nd down 7 at the 10-yard line of the Oklahoma State Cowboys. Interesting to hear what Jim Higgins of the Sugar Bowl will have to say about a first half that I know is surprising to many people.
Well, I know that Jim is here with a very serious intent of having Oklahoma State as their guest if they can win this game and still be in the picture after the game next week, even if they should lose to Oklahoma. They did take, Ray, 18,000 fans to the Bluebonnet Bowl in Houston last year. Bowl people love to have a team visit that's going to bring that kind of number of fans, and the Cowboy fans have been very supportive and thereby very helpful in their cause to get into bowls.
I said the ball was at the 10. Davis was ruled down at the 13-yard line, so there was no gain. It is 2nd and 10 with 17 seconds left in the half. And you talk about a man was absolutely certain that ball would not be intercepted.
Well, I tell you, it's a smart move on his part. Alan Hood knew what he was doing, and he was doing exactly what Jim Kreiner and the offensive coaches told him. He has completed 3 of 10 now for 31 yards. On that occasion, and he has completed 2 of those 3 as very critical passes in this drive to get a field goal at least. In that last case, knowing they had no more timeouts and also knowing that they did not want to turn it over with an interception, the coaches told him, I'm sure, if you see somebody wide open, drill it to him, but if he's not wide open, throw it clear out of consideration.
3rd and 10. Hood's going to run out of bounds around the 12. Chased out by Matt Munger, and it's field goal time. Mark Backrow will be attempting a field goal. A field goal of 29 yards from the right hash mark. 7 seconds left in the half. It certainly has the distance, but it's way wide to the right. So the Cowboys, despite turning it over by way of an intercepted pass, managed to hold off Iowa State and preserve their 6-point lead with 3 seconds now remaining in the first half.
Well, they were very fortunate. Their turnover did give Iowa State a good opportunity. They managed the time well. They managed the play calling well to hit 2 nice passes to get the ball down in there to the 12-yard line, and it's a very unfortunate thing for Mark Backrope. That wet field changes your timing a little bit, because as you plant your left foot to swing your right one to kick, you do slip a little bit. You're a little more cautious and tentative.
This will be merely the formality of a snap to allow the last 3 seconds to go off the clock, and we've reached halftime at Lewis Field in Stillwater, Oklahoma. Our Big 8 Conference game of the week finds the Oklahoma State Cowboys leading the Iowa State Cyclones, but by only 6. The score is 13-7. Stay with us for an interesting halftime. Well, the teams have returned to the artificial turf of Lewis Field here in Stillwater, Oklahoma. And Eddie, I think you're all set for some of our highlights from the first half, which finds Oklahoma State leading Iowa State by 13-7.
Well, we are looking at a football game today that's been, I think, one of the outstanding games we've had, Ray. We came into this game expecting Iowa State to maybe be down a little at the late in the season. We thought Oklahoma State might be looking past them a bit. I think they've both played outstanding football.
Turnovers have had a part of the game. Several touchdowns. 2 of the 3 touchdowns were scored as a result of turnovers.
Well, yes, and we see Alan Hood make an excellent play on the options. You can see he ducks through a gaping hole, and I tell you, he runs right by Leslie O'Neal through that hole, and that's an outstanding accomplishment for the Iowa State line to have blocked Leslie O'Neal as effectively as they did. And we see Oklahoma State coming back and getting themselves back in the game after that Iowa State touchdown is this high arching pass thrown by Rusty Hilger, 5th-year senior, and a great catch made by Jamie Harris as he makes the diving, fall on the ball kind of catch. And again, it's Rusty Hilger, number 12, in the center of your screen, moving off to his right in the pass, kind of flow pass, you might call it, a little sprint out. And this time it's Jamie Harris again, and makes the catch in the end zone as the score after the extra point kicked by Roach becomes 7-7 tie. Hilger here just makes the handoff to Thurman Thomas, who makes the leaping, diving effort to get in the end zone, something that, as we commented on a number of times this year, has become rather fad-like. But the diving and leaping effort in this case does succeed. The extra point does not. It's 13-7 in favor of Oklahoma State. And they come back here with an effort to make the first down on a 4th and short yardage, and bam, that great blow is delivered by Jeff Braswell, the outstanding and very successful linebacker at Iowa State, who came to Oklahoma State University as a freshman and then proceeded off in a transfer to Iowa State. And of course, that's been a great blessing. As we look at the first half stats, balance here only by 1. Turnovers have been such a key part, however, of the scoring and the success of the comeback for Oklahoma State, as each of their 2 scores came as a result of a turnover.
So we had a total of 5 turnovers in the first half. The turnover by Oklahoma State, the first of the game, led to an Iowa State touchdown. An Iowa State turnover at midfield was turned into a touchdown then by Oklahoma State. So 2 of the 3 touchdowns came as a result of miscues by the opposition. Pat Jones across the way, and you see all kinds of cold and wet weather gear here today. Oh, isn't that something?
You also see an awful lot of vacant seats, and I know that we're talking to a lot of fans who stayed home or have gone home, and frankly, I can readily understand.
Now the second half will find Iowa State receiving the football. They had won the toss, but elected to defer their option to the second half. So the Cowboys' Larry Roach will be kicking off to either Michael Posey, number 85. And they've switched. Instead of Richard Hansen being one of the deep men, Tommy Davis, number 22, has joined Posey. 13-7, Oklahoma State leading on our Big 8 Conference Game of the Week finale for the season. This will be Posey at the 8. 15, bit of a hole, out to the 29. So that's a pretty good return by Posey. So let's see what the Cyclones have in their offensive bag of tricks here for the second half. Alan Hood, the big, strong junior quarterback from St. Louis, Missouri. Richard Hansen, number 37, the leading rusher for the Cyclones, will again be the tailback. The fullback is Tommy Davis. Minor and Henderson are the two wide receivers. Whoa. Davis ran into Rodney Harding and Leslie O'Neal.
Well, Rodney Harding has not received quite as much notice as Leslie O'Neal, and
Matt Munger was shaken up on the play.
well, you see right there why Rodney Harding is considered by Leslie O'Neal as not only a compatriot but a very accomplished and excellent player as well. And when you have a player so outstanding as Leslie O'Neal looking as much better as people assume that he does than the others, well, you realize then the tremendous talent he has, because Rodney Harding, Matt Munger, who now has gone to the sideline, but quite apparently with nothing serious, will be back.
He's replaced by freshman Ken Cumbie, number 30. Minor goes in motion on 2nd and 10. Hansen. And that was Rodney Harding.
Well, I'm glad we gave Rodney a little notice, because he's a guy who's been kind of obscure, again, in part because Leslie Neal, Munger, and others have gotten so much notice. But you're going to see that he here demonstrates first keen balance. He does not get thrown off balance at all. He gets off the block right there, moves quickly to the outside, and then he just shows you great arm strength in throwing down the ball carrier in this
gain of 2, 3rd down 8, 32-yard line of Iowa State. Split backs. Minor was wide open, but Allen Hood couldn't get the ball to him.
You know, in this case, I think it was Tracy Henderson, but whatever the case, I do think, Ray, that it should be said that Allen Hood has a strong arm. He's got a nice delivery. He's just got a lot less experience. He has not thrown that route nearly as many times as Hilgers has, and I'm sure as Espinoza had. Given time, I think he's going to be an outstanding quarterback.
Thompson to
Successful linebacker at Iowa State, who came to Oklahoma State University as a freshman and then proceeded off in a transfer to Iowa State, and of course that's been a great blessing. As we look at the first half stats, balance here only by 1. Turnovers have been such a key part, however, of the scoring and the success of the comeback for Oklahoma State, as each of their 2 scores came as a result of a turnover.
So we had a total of 5 turnovers in the first half. The turnover by Oklahoma State, the first game, led to an Iowa State touchdown. An Iowa State turnover at midfield was turned into a touchdown then by Oklahoma State. So 2 of the 3 touchdowns came as a result of miscues by the opposition. Pat Jones across the way, and you see all kinds of cold and wet weather gear here today. Oh, isn't that something?
You also see an awful lot of vacant seats, and I know that we're talking to a lot of fans who stayed home or have gone home, and frankly, I can readily understand.
Now, the second half will find Iowa State receiving the football. They had won the toss, but elected to defer their option to the second half. So the Cowboys' Larry Roach will be kicking off to either Michael Posey, number 85, and they've switched. Instead of Richard Hansen being one of the deep men, Tommy Davis, number 22, has joined Posey. 13-7, Oklahoma State leading on our Big 8 Conference Game of the Week finale for the season. This will be Posey at the 8. 15, bit of a hole, out to the 29. So that's a pretty good return by Posey. So let's see what the Cyclones have in their offensive bag of tricks here for the second half. Allen Hood, the big, strong junior quarterback from St. Louis, Missouri. Richard Hansen, number 37, the leading rusher for the Cyclones, will again be the tailback. The fullback is Tommy Davis. Minor and Henderson are the 2 wide receivers. Whoa. Davis ran into Rodney Harding and Leslie O'Neal.
Well, Rodney Harding has not received quite as much notice as Leslie O'Neal, and
Matt Munger was shaken up on the play.
well, you see right there why Rodney Harding is considered by Leslie O'Neal as not only a compatriot, but a very accomplished and excellent player as well. And when you have a player so outstanding as Leslie O'Neal looking as much better as people assume that he does than the others, well, you realize then the tremendous talent he has, because Rodney Harding, Matt Munger, who now has gone to the sideline, but quite apparently with nothing serious, will be back.
He's replaced by freshman Ken Cumby, number 30. Miner goes in motion on 2nd and 10. Hanson. And that was Rodney Harding.
Well, I'm glad we gave Rodney a little notice, because he's a guy who's been kind of obscure, again, in part because Leslie Neal, Munger, and others have gotten so much notice. But you're going to see that he here demonstrates first keen balance. He does not get thrown off balance at all. He gets off the block right there, moves quickly to the outside, and then he just shows you great arm strength in throwing down the ball carrier in this.
Gain of 2, 3rd down 8, 32-yard line of Iowa State. Split backs. Miner was wide open, but Alan Hood couldn't get the ball to him.
You know, in this case, I think it was Tracy Henderson, but whatever the case, I do think, Ray, that it should be said that Alan Hood has a strong arm. He's got a nice delivery. He's just got a lot less experience. He has not thrown that route nearly as many times as Hilgers has, and I'm sure as Espinoza had. Given time, I think he's going to be an outstanding quarterback.
Thompson to punt. Bobby Riley to accept the punt. Second half just underway. Good snap. Fine kick. Riley at the Oklahoma State 25.
Well, this is
Caught from behind by Anthony Mays, or that would have been an even longer return.
Well, Bobby Riley apparently got shaken a bit on the tackle. You can see these shirts all pulled loose, his shoulder pads up, but he was very close to popping through here. As you see, popped straight up the middle. The ball was a little bit low in flight. It gave him a chance to field it and get started before the covering party was there. 43-yard punt with a 15-yard return.
For Oklahoma State, their first possession of the second half. The tailback will be number 34, Thurman Thomas. The fullback is number 31, Will Timmons. Hilger has 2 wide receivers to the right, but this is Thomas. And waiting for him was Tim Iverson, and we've been calling his name many times today.
Well, we have, Ray, and it's interesting that we have all heard throughout this season, very understandably, of the great success of the defense at Oklahoma State, but you hear the names Leslie O'Neal, Munger, and so forth. We are starting to hear Iverson and the names of the defensive players. Steve Little, Lester Williams, Jim Lubers, Jeff Braswell. This is an outstanding defense.
There was no gain. A little screen pass, and Harris has a first down. He slipped the tackle just enough to get beyond the 50 to the 48-yard line of Iowa State. And Rusty Hilger moves ever closer to that all-time leading passer category for Oklahoma State.
Well, you see why here. Rusty, when you relook at this play, makes a nice, quick throw, just a little dart pass. And it's an effective play because Jamie Harris has not run downfield. It's almost a screen. It's kind of a flanker screen. Give him a chance to catch it and put in running room.
No gain on that running play from the outside. That was Lester Williams, and he's made a number of great defensive plays today for the Cyclones. Incidentally, Joe Jackson, number 28, a senior cornerback from Los Angeles, is playing at the left corner now for Iowa State in place of Terrence Anthony.
And we have just gotten word that Riley, Bobby Riley, who was down, has leg cramps.
This is Thurman Thomas. That's good enough for another first down. Tony Tucker made the defensive play, but Thurman Thomas, showing tremendous perseverance, gets the first down.
Well, as you see, Hilger pitches the Ball to Thomas, and he makes a nice break to the outside, a nice fake there, ducks to the outside, but it also indicates that at halftime, the Oklahoma State coaching staff reviewed the defenses being played by Iowa State. They reviewed their own offensive package and have made some adjustments because having made only 35 rushing yards the first half, they've already moved it quickly here in the second.
Here goes Thomas. But Braswell is there with yet another great play. Incidentally, a change in the offensive line. Number 78, Chris Patton, is now in for Oklahoma State. But Braswell, what quickness.
Well, quickness and range. As you see Braswell, he is a very trim-looking athlete. He's 6'1", 235 pounds, but watch how far he's got to run. The interesting feature of this is not only does he run about 12 to 15 yards to the outside, he's got to do that fighting off blockers and then turn upfield to make the tackle.
No gain, second down 10, 38-yard line of Iowa State. And down goes Hilger, and the ball is ruled a fumble. And there's another turnover, and Braswell was blitzing.
Well, Braswell, again, this is remarkable. We came into a game in which the highly touted Oklahoma State defense was getting all the focus. It's Iowa State's defense that, to this point, has been able to come up with innumerable big plays. As you right side of your picture, Braswell pops right through. He gets to Hilger before he's able to handle the ball in the handoff, pops it free, turnover, first down, Iowa State, 41-yard line.
The I formation now. Hood rolling. That's O'Neal that ran him down. The speed of Leslie O'Neal.
Tell you what we just found out. Alan Hood, we know, has good speed. Leslie O'Neal can run faster because it was purely a foot race from midfield laterally over toward the sideline. And you're going to see that first Alan Hood is sprinted off to his right. As you see, he sets up. He cannot find a receiver. He decides to turn it back and go the other way. Now, just to your right, you're going to see it. The right side, 99, pops into your picture. And for a fellow the size of Leslie O'Neal, you're looking at a great athlete with tremendous quickness and very good sprinter speed.
Loss of a yard, second down 11, Iowa State 40. Fake to Hansen. And there's Tracy Henderson, and that might be a first down.
We know that Tracy Henderson's a great athlete. He is one of the best receivers in the country. Let me pay a little tribute to the fellow who made that play succeed. His name is Bruce Westmeyer, number 75, the offensive tackle who blocked Leslie O'Neal for about 8 seconds. And you see right there, Leslie is free, but watch. Here's going to come Bruce back after him again. It was a remarkable effort to track the play. And you might watch one of the offensive linemen. If you want to get a little different perspective, just pick this time one of the offensive linemen. Watch him throughout the whole play without looking for the ball. He'll take you to the ball.
A first down at the Oklahoma State 48 for Iowa State. Fake to the tailback. There's Henderson. So Henderson, who was not that much of a factor in the first half, all of a sudden is very much a factor. And it's another first down, this one inside the Cowboy 29.
Well, we do see that the coaches, as we assumed they would for Iowa State, have told Alan Hood there, firing this excellent throw. And as you can see, as we said earlier, Hood has a strong arm. He's got an accurate arm. He now is implementing that to get the ball to Henderson, as we thought unquestionably the coaches from Iowa State would tell their team to do in the second half.
A 1st and 10 play. Again to the air. Tommy Davis, I think, took a little peek, and he saw linebacker Ricky Adams waiting, and as a result, pass incomplete.
Well, he was a little off balance. The ball was not thrown right straight into his numbers. The probable cause of that little timing and location difficulty in throwing on target is the fact that, again, with Espinoza out, Alan Hood is still working on enough number of repetitions in practice on that kind of play to have accuracy every time they run it.
Cowboys are leading 13-7. 9:40 left, third quarter. 2nd and 10, Iowa State. 29-yard line of Oklahoma State. Minor went in motion. There's Tommy Davis. And the good hit by Ricky Adams.
Tommy Davis, the ball carrier.
And Ricky Adams is another name in that Oklahoma State defense that is not mentioned as much as some of the others like Leslie O'Neal. But if you'll watch right here, right to your right side of your screen, bam, Ricky Adams moves into position and strikes an excellent blow. And the important feature to recognize about what Ricky just did is to be headed upfield so that the ball carrier does not get a chance to fall forward. If he falls forward, he's gained another yard. You got to stop him and drive him back.
A key 3rd and 7 at the 26 of Oklahoma State.
Oh,
Loose football. I believe that number 91, Warren Thompson, and Leslie O'Neal will be ruled to have. I think the whistle blew when before the ball was shaken loose, and it occurred around the 40-yard line. And Allen Hood is really shaken up.
well, he is shaken up. I'm sure he's disappointed and perplexed with having not been able to pull off the successful play in that key 3rd down situation. But you'll see that the great defense comes up with big plays at critical moments, and the pass rush being put on by just a swarming host of Oklahoma State defenders has destroyed the drive as far as potential touchdown or field goal as it turned.
Thompson to punt. Bobby Riley to accept the punt. I thought perhaps Thompson might try to aim it to one corner or the other, but not so, and it's a touchback. And the Cowboys have preserved their 6-point lead and will have the ball at their own 20. 7:57 left to play in the 3rd quarter. We'll return to Stillwater right after this brief pause.
There's
the weapon cold weather gear is still very much in evidence here today.
And a couple of fans enjoying sharing an umbrella.
The Cowboys take over with Rusty Hilger directing the attack and sending Jamie Harris in motion from the Cowboy 20. Here comes Thurman Thomas. Jim Lubers, number 48, helped wrap him up.
Stop by Tucker and Lubers.
Gain on the play. About 1.5 yards or 2 yards. 2nd down 8. Jamie Harris moves out to be covered by cornerback Terrence Anthony. But meanwhile, the tailback for just about 1 yard.
Thurman Thomas.
Well, Thurman Thomas has certainly come on superbly as a freshman, a true freshman out of Missouri City, Texas, where he played outstanding football and was acknowledged as one of the great high school seniors a year ago. They had high expectations of him, brought him along slowly, and again last week against Missouri he had an outstanding game.
He came into the game as the 2nd leading rusher for the Cowboys behind Sean Jones, who has made just a brief appearance today. This is a 3rd and 8. And Thomas again, but that swarming Cyclone defense is waiting, and apparently this ball will have to be punted away.
But we're seeing the Iowa State defense again make just another outstanding play, and these two defensive teams have been in virtually a battle to a standoff. It's been the turnovers that have contributed to the scoring primarily, but the two defenses have played outstanding football.
Billy McHugh to accept the punt from Cooper. The 35-yard line. Limited to about a 3-yard run back. Excellent special team play.
A 42-yard kick by Gary Cooper.
So onto the field comes the Cowboy defense. Onto the field comes the Allen Hood-led Cyclone offense. We'll return to Stillwater, Oklahoma. This is the Cats Sports Network. To be a punter in football is, of course, a non-contact situation, right?
Well, no.
That's what happened to Gary Cooper after he punted. 1st and 10, Iowa State, Cyclone 38. 6:03 left to play, 3rd quarter. Adam Hood couldn't quite get enough of a lead on the defenders, led by Matt Munger, but Hood still picked up a couple of yards.
Well, this was a case in which I think Preston Allen Hood made the correct decision to run with the ball, but he delayed just a tad, and as he turned up, the hole was already closing, as Matt Munger typically made that quick and decisive move, which he's been noted for as a great linebacker.
The Cyclones have 2 tight ends in the game. They put the one in the slot. He comes in motion. Wadka. Fake to the tailback. There's Henderson. Boy, he has great hands.
Hood is fast, complete to number 89, Tracy Henderson.
Mark Moore made the tackle, but not before. The Cyclones pick up a first down at the 43-yard line of Oklahoma State.
47-yard line, first and 10, Iowa State.
17-yard gain. Nice pass. Hood this time again on target, high, but the great receiver. That takes great athletic skill to have the quickness to dart up into that full stretch posture and make that snatch. Outstanding play. Great athlete.
This is the fullback, Davis, breaking a tackle, and that's very close to another Cyclone first down. So perhaps the threat now of Hood to Henderson is going to open up a little bit of running.
Well, I think you've just put your finger right on the key of this, and as we are aware, that's one of the rare occasions when Iowa State's been able to pop through and make a significant gain running with the ball, and it does come immediately following a nice pass to Henderson. The two sure do go well together.
Second and less than 1, 33-yard line of Oklahoma State. The Cyclones on the move. And Hood gets the first down at the 32. And there went a late flag. So let's see what referee Sam Maphis' crew has here. Holding. So that will prevent. That will take away the first down from Jim Kreiner's Iowa State Cyclones.
Well, that's got to be a great disappointment as we look at Jim Kreiner. I know that Jim's got to have an awful feeling about that, because with the first down, which they had earned, they would have been very close to the 30-yard line.
We got holding against the White. First down. Second down.
Second down and 10 with the ball moving back to the 43-yard line. Late third quarter, 4:31 left. The second half has been scoreless. The Cowboys lead 13-7 after falling behind 7-0. Now Hood sends Henderson to the left. In the slot left is the second tight end, Jeff Wadka. Wadka comes in motion. Hood keeps it. Picks up about 3, and it will be 3rd and 7. Where Harry Roberts made a good defensive play.
Well, Harry did.
David Webb.
David Webb. You see, this is what's called a naked reverse or bootleg. It's just a quick fake. Allen Hood keeps the ball, of course, all alone and just breaks to the outside with no blocking leading it. Depends solely and totally on deception, and that time there was not a great deal as he picks up perhaps a yard.
2 additional defensive backs. Demise Williams, number 5. Mike Hudson, number 10, are in the game. So 6 defensive backs. 3rd and 7. Hansen was in motion. There was a beautifully thrown ball to Hansen at the 30, and it's a first down.
Well, again, it shows that Allen Hood does have the quick delivery arm. You'll see that he throws the ball on the move. He's out on a sprint out. Oklahoma State is in man-for-man defense. He throws it really in kind of a jumping action. Thrown right on the numbers, first down.
It's a 1st and 10 at the Oklahoma State 30. Now the officials are requesting that a dry ball be put into play. They're doing a good job today of keeping a ball just about as dry as possible in play. Tommy Davis inside the 20. This is another first down, and a flag across the way. Far on the other side of the field, a flag was dropped as that play developed. Let's see what we have this time.
Well, quite apparently that's an infraction between or by one of the 2 wide people, receiver, defender.
Tracy Henderson, the wide receiver on that side for Iowa State, is pointing toward the defense, and it is a holding call against Oklahoma State. So the heavily. Here's what happened.
Fortunately, our excellent photographic work again shows us that there's no question about the holding, and I don't really blame him. You know, it's a last grasp effort, so to speak. Holding, unquestionably, automatic first down.
It has declined because the pass to Tommy Davis was good for a first down at the 16-yard line, and Pat Jones, who knows how very much this game means to his Cowboys. Well, that's just the third penalty against Oklahoma State, but it's a first down for Iowa State at the 16-yard line of Oklahoma State. Hood, a little short pass. Again, his target is his fullback, and it's around the 14-yard line.
And that was a repeat of the previous play, but to the other side. They had popped it out there on the quick release to Tommy Davis to the right on the previous play. This time, Hood comes back to his left, finds Tommy Davis slipping out of the backfield, and makes a nice catch. Low ball, good catch, gets turned upfield for maybe an extra yard.
A gain of 2. Second down 8. 14-yard line of the Cowboys. Clock running. 2:25 left in the third quarter. Oklahoma State is leading 13-7. Hood, pretty good protection. There's Davis again. And this time he gets to the 10-yard line, where it will be third down and about 4 as Mark Moore makes the defensive play. But they apparently have found something.
Well, what they're doing, of course, is to slip Hood out late. And the reason that he is open is that Oklahoma State leaves him open, because with the back coming out late, they are wanting to cover all the other defend against the other receivers coming down earlier. In the process, they just say, hey, if they throw it to one of those short delayed receivers, react from deeper, come up and make the play. And as the third quarter winds down, passing games become a vital and successful part of the Iowa State attack.
Hansen goes in motion, 3rd and 4. There's Davis. He does not get the first down. He gets about 1.5 yards or 2 to the 8-yard line, and Leslie O'Neal was right in the thick of the defensive play, along with David Webb. And Alan Hood is looking over to the sidelines, and apparently Iowa State will go for the 3 points. Now, they have missed 1 field goal. Did Backrote?
Well, in this particular case, yes, he did. He kicked it from pretty much a similar position, a little further out. He kicked it off to the right. In this particular case, that's 4th and 2 yards to go, and I think it's a smart decision on Coach Kreiner's part.
Scott Williams, the holder, for a 25-yard attempt. Good snap, good hold, and it is good. So the Cyclones have pulled to within 3 with 48 seconds left to play in the third quarter. This is not exactly what the so-called experts expected, but we've had an excellent football game with great effort by both teams, and the Cowboys lead Iowa State 13-10. The Cowboys of Oklahoma State have a 3-point lead to protect in front of a very critical audience of 9 Major Bowl scouts.
Well, the Major Bowl scouts have got to be wondering at this point which of these teams is the bowl candidate, because Iowa State has come in here and made an excellent effort. Now that they've got their pass game going, which here in this third quarter they definitely have begun to work with, they are looking like a very formidable team. And we thought early, Ray, maybe we had an upset on our hands. That's still very much a possibility.
Thurman Thomas and Harry Roberts. Now, this is unusual. Harry Roberts is a defensive lineman who at one time was an offensive player.
He was a fullback.
He's in there as a deep returner right now.
Well, it's interesting. I've been told, again, he's a fellow with outstanding speed. He's physically strong. He was a fullback.
And Thurman Thomas watches it go out of bounds inside the 1.
Well, Thurman did a smart thing. He let it go out of bounds at the 1, and I beg your pardon, they are going to rule that the ball was touched earlier, and that thereby, rather than it's penalize the kicking team and kick it again, the ball is spotted at about the 1-yard line. First and 10.
Brought Pat Jones sprinting down the sidelines, the Oklahoma State head coach. So a very interesting situation has developed with only 48 seconds left in the third quarter. Whatever you do, stay with us.
Cowboys will have first and 10 at their own 1 yard.
Why is that ball out of bounds inside the 1?
Because Mark Moore right here touches it, as we can see.
Yep.
It just glances off his right hand. The ball now is bounding along, headed for the out-of-bounds marker. Irvin Thomas is making the judgment as to whether or not to pick it up, and he had a little tough time doing so anyway. It was a remarkable angle.
So now it's at about the 1 foot line in possession of the Cowboys. Hilger wedges out for a yard or so. That'll give him a little bit of room.
This is the ultimate illustration of field position, critical field position. You normally can expect to have the ball at least at your 20-yard line when you receive a kickoff. Here, with the ball at their now 1-yard line, Oklahoma State is really in a moment of crisis, and Pat Jones there on the sideline fully recognizes the consequence of this series of plays.
We're inside 20 seconds remaining in the third quarter. A new ball has been called for as Jim Kreiner shouts to his Iowa State Cyclones.
You know, his Iowa State Cyclones have played superbly against good opposition this year. They had a tough defeat at the hands of Nebraska, but aside from that, of course, they lost by only 10-12 against Oklahoma, having led into the last minute or two of the game.
Clock starts to run again. Hilger to the air, perhaps. Couldn't quite get it to Jamie Harris.
Well, it was a little out of reach for Jamie Harris. It was a little too wide, and the reason it was is Rusty Hilger knows that anything underthrown in this case, had it been thrown back to the inside, the defense has an excellent chance to intercept. He can't allow that under any circumstance, so he overemphasized a little bit, went a little too much to the outside.
Now with 11 seconds left in the quarter, it is third down and 9 at the 1. Timmons gets nowhere. Stout defense led by Lugers and Braswell.
No gain.
And we have reached the end of the third quarter. And the Cyclones of Iowa State are in tremendous position to take the lead for the second time in this game. The score here at Stillwater, Oklahoma. Oklahoma State Cowboys 13. Iowa State Cyclones 10. We'll be back with the fourth quarter after this brief message. We're not necessarily warm, but we're dry at Stillwater, Oklahoma, as Harry Cooper prepares to punt from deep in the end zone. Billy McHugh standing at the Cowboy 40. At the 34-yard line. Dropped right there. Excellent coverage of that very short punt by Oklahoma State's Terry. I hope I pronounce his name correctly. Terry Koshow,
I believe it is. And I tell you what's interesting about that. The short punt was a result of an excellent rush put on by Iowa State. Iowa State had great pressure on, and the result is that punter Kerry Cooper did not have the normal time allotted for punting, had to hurry it, got off a short punt.
First down, Cyclones, Oklahoma State 31-yard line. Big hole for Hansen. He closed in a hurry, but he picked up about 3 to 4 yards, did Richard Hansen, before he's met by Wendell Yancey, number 48.
Last week, we saw Kansas State employ an unbalanced line extensively against Iowa State. Iowa State is doing the same thing here against Oklahoma State. That was unbalanced line to the right, got an extra blocker to that side, popped through to the right side, and again, one of the few times you do that against Oklahoma State's defense.
Second down 6 at the 28 of Oklahoma State. The Cowboys are leading by 3. Hood with good protection. Lost the ball. And Oklahoma State has it.
That could be a game-determining play. Again, it was just a little quick pass coming out of the backfield as Hood moved back, popped it off to Tommy Davis again. Tommy made a nice catch. The ball was low. It was a good effort to get the ball. In doing so, you're going to see that it's off to the right side of your picture. You will see the little delay. You see that nice catch, a low ball, and it was just stabbed and popped right out of his hands. And as it was, turnover Oklahoma State. And boy, they just gained 25 important yards, having started on the previous possession at their own 1-yard line or 1-foot line.
John Washington, I think, will be credited with recovering that. Charles Crawford on first down runs for 3 yards to the 28-yard line of Oklahoma State. But the Iowa State Cyclone defense is still just tenacious.
Well, it's tenacious, and it's had to fight kind of back to the wall or in unfortunate circumstance. It's a morale breaker when you go in there and your offense has fumbled with the ball after you had such good field position. But boy, they've met the challenge.
2nd down and 7. Hilger with a long count. There goes Crawford, close to a first down around the 34-yard line. Boy, the depth at tailback. We have seen Charles Crawford, Thurman Thomas, and Sean Jones running from tailback.
We're going to see the hole open here. They'll see that Crawford gets it under just a wall of orange-shirted blockers. The hole does not pop wide open, but they push the defense back enough that it allows him to just surge forward and then slide off to the outside for the first down.
3rd and 1.
Nearly the first down.
Crawford. He struggled, but he did not make it. He's shy of the 35-yard line, and Jeff Braswell made another marvelous individual effort.
And you got to understand that he's starting from just virtually right in front of the offensive center. He's moving to the outside with all the obstruction of blockers in the way, and then he's got to, in order to prevent that offensive back from making the first down, he's got to move upfield and attack him, knock him back, prevent that fall forward effort.
Measurement for the down with 12 minutes and 48 seconds left in the game. We'll have to wait for the officials to tell us. No. That's shy, says referee Sam Mathis. Pat Jones. Kick it away, says Pat, to Billy McHugh by Cary Cooper, the punter. This is absolutely one of the most interesting games, Eddie, that we've had to televise this season. Well, it is. It's a game that has everything on the line, so to speak. The Iowa State staff shouts instructions, everything on the line, so to speak, for Oklahoma State, and very little except pride and some momentum for next year for Iowa State. And boy, they've played it tooth and nail and hammer and tongs. A lot of cliches there. All right, there's Cary Cooper. Now McHugh is only at the moment 15 yards behind the line, but now he's drifting back as we watch from behind the punter. Good pass from center. Oh, what a kick. Oh, what a kick. Inside the 20, all the way back at the 17-yard line. And great coverage by the special team. So back and forth, the fortunes of this game. The intensity has been at a high level all of this game. We should have a great finish. The Cowboys lead by 3. I'm delighted that someone made a decision that our cheerleaders, our young ladies, did not have to appear in their usual rather brief costumes today. The temperature at game time at start of the game was 37 degrees. Allen Hood is throwing for Henderson. Flag down.
The official had to get inside of his rain shirt to get that flag out, but he clearly had made the judgment that there was interference on the play. I did think that there was a little bumping going on. Let's have a look to see if we all concur, because you got a deep route being run. You got great pressure on the quarterback, and Hood does a nice job of getting an accurate throw away. But what do you think? We'll get another angle of it and see if we can get a little clearer definition, but it does appear there was right there contact. And the question that the official has to make, of course, is whether or not that contact is enough to deter to prevent the receiver from making the catch. And in this case, that's the way he ruled it. It is a 15-yard penalty in this case. No longer do you get all of the yardage if it exceeds 15 yards in depth on the point at which the interference occurred. You go back to the line of scrimmage and penalize the defensive team 15 yards only.
So at the 34-yard line of Iowa State, the Cyclones have a first down with 12-12 left in the game. Ball drilled close to a first down, and Hood's accuracy here in the second half has improved tremendously as he hits Robbie Minor for a very good gain that might be close enough to call for a measurement for the down.
Well, and I think it is
just a first down.
Yes, I think it's almost visible in the confidence that Hood is gaining as this game goes along. He's throwing the ball with a good deal more authority. He just seems to stand in there with a little more confidence. And here we see an attendance figure of 32,000. I'm a little dubious.
Hood again to the air. He is throwing way overthrows Henderson down the right sideline.
He really took
Hood
a shot.
really took a shot. He's being aided, in fact, back to his feet by one of his teammates, Brett Lawrence, who is filling in at offensive guard for Eric Hundorf, who was injured and unable to start today.
And I want to point out something that's apparent. When you're a quarterback, you're not going to be as big normally as many of those fellows rushing because they are defensive linemen and linebackers. Often you're going to lay a lot of weight. You're also not only giving away that weight, but you're a sitting target. You're standing still, and they've got a full head of steam, or very nearly a full head of steam, and boy, the impact is a jarring experience.
2nd and 10.
A little quick movement by the left offensive
Davis,
tackle.
but we had a flag down. Davis had a big hole, the Cyclone fullback, but illegal procedure.
Yes, Bruce Westermeyer unfortunately got a little quick start, and again, I think this Iowa State team continues to be keyed up enough that they tend to jump a little. They're anticipating the count in this case, and Bruce Westermeyer, who's
Dead ball.
played an
Illegal procedure on the white. 2nd down.
Bruce has done an outstanding job. He's had the task of blocking on Leslie O'Neal throughout the day, and that'll make you a little anxious. I think I'd jump a little late.
2nd and 15. The ball goes back to the 39-yard line.
Check this score.
That is one of the amazing scores of the day. Navy over South Carolina, 31-7. Hansen goes in motion. There's a throw back, and oh, what a play.
Great defense.
A super play by Demise Williams, who is in as an additional defensive back. That could have gone for big yardage had he not been there.
Well, it could have, Ray, and it also shows us why, as we look at this second look at it. Nice play. I tell you, this was a nice call. It's a little screen pass back, kind of a wide screen. But Demise Williams shows us right there the value of what people call the nickel defense. It's that extra defensive back in there, and it puts another one in there in position to make plays over the entire width of the field.
It's now 3rd and 18 after that loss at the Iowa State 37. Fake to Hansen. There is Henderson. Oh, he couldn't quite hold on. A little bit too high at the 41-yard line. And so the Cyclones are going to have to punt it away. And although the crowd is small, they really show their appreciation to the great defensive effort by Oklahoma State.
Well, having gained some experience at counting the crowd or estimating a count, Ray, I'm guessing that we probably don't have more than 7,000 or 8,000 people remaining in the stadium at this time. But boy, it is an enthusiastic crowd and one that supports their team with enough of that feeling that the Oklahoma State players on the field know they're there.
Malcolm Lewis has replaced Bobby Riley as the return man for Oklahoma State. Thompson's punt. Oh, this is going to put the Cowboys very deep. Back around their 6. It's being wished even deeper by the Cyclones. So the Cowboys will have it in dangerous territory. With 10 minutes and 18 seconds left to play. Bull hopes on the line. This is the Cats Sports Network.
Alan Hood scored the touchdown that opened the scoring early in the first quarter of this game. It was option plays again. You can see he makes the fake. Nice fake. Then he turns up to the inside. But those defenders for Oklahoma State Were fooled once, not twice. They did not take the fake.
Loss of 1, 2nd and 16. Deep drop back. He wanted to hit Henderson. It's going to be 3rd and 16.
Well, that again, I think, is a result of a little lack of experience among and between the quarterback and receivers. And in this case, I'm not sure that that's my opinion. The opinion of Alan Hood is that the officials overlooked an interference. Now we are seeing additional defenders into the game. We're going to get the nickel defense, or in this case, actually, I think we've got 6 secondary players in the game anticipating pass by Iowa State.
Williams and Hudson are the 2 additional defensive backs. 3rd and 16. That was Minor at the 22-yard line.
Well, earlier in the game, you identified Minor as Minor. I thought, and mistakenly so, that was Henderson. But Minor, too, is an outstanding receiver. When you've got 6 defensive backs in the game, to come up with a completion and a successful play means it was well conceived, well executed. In that case, against 6 defensive backs, Minor, at 6 feet, 175 pounds, out of Hazelwood, Missouri, came up with an excellent play.
An apparent field goal attempt of 39 yards from the right hash mark by Backrope, with Williams holding. Will we have a tie? No. So the Cowboys are able to cling to that 3-point lead. 8 minutes and 27 seconds remaining. So on this gray, damp day at Stillwater, Oklahoma, the Cowboys have a 3-point lead. Here's that field goal attempt.
Well, it's a little hard to tell here because it looks like his body's in pretty good position. He gets his leg through it pretty well, but for whatever reason, Backroad is just not able to catch the full meat of the ball as he normally would, and very possibly his foot is not very secure on that wet turf.
As a result, the Cowboys have their 3-point lead and a 1st and 10 at their own 22 with 8:27 left to play in the game. This is Jamie Harris. He got a block from Malcolm Lewis. And he's out to the 29-yard line for a gain of 8.
You spoke earlier of your respect and for an enthusiasm about Pat Jones, the new coach for Oklahoma State. And I'll tell you what I'm particularly impressed with. He's got everything on the line. He's got the ball there back at his own 22-yard line. And he's leading by only 3 points. That's a point at which most coaches become very conservative. First down, he winds right up, throws it out there in the flat. And it became a very successful play.
Picking his way to the 32-yard line was Sean Jones. Very close to a 1st down. Now, it's very interesting, too. Not only did they put the ball in the air, the Cowboys, but they practically told Iowa State they're going to. They have no tight end in the game. 3 wide receivers.
And then to throw it, just that little quick hitch out in the flat is a real courageous piece of business. And yet, you do have to introduce some risk into the game where you become so predictable that the defense is always there. In this case, it was a very bright call on the part of the Oklahoma State coaching staff.
3rd and less than 1. The full house backfield brought into play. That means that number 2, Ken Zachary, is in. 2 tight ends. Kelly Cook is the fullback. Not there. The Cyclones are equal to it again.
But they had a timing mistake on the play. It was a broken play in the sense that the center snapped the ball to the quarterback quite apparently early. And Pat Jones certainly indicates that something's wrong with it because he's not at all happy with the outcome. The ball was snapped by the center just before the offensive line was really ready. So I think the center just anticipated a little bit the snap count, popped it up to the quarterback. He had to hand it off. They weren't ready. They didn't block well. Loses a yard.
Willie Everett was one of the defenders responsible for stopping that play for a loss, and so it's time for Cooper to punt the ball away. Billy McHugh flagged down at the 40 with 7:03 remaining.
Well, this is a little peculiar because the officials were blowing the whistle before the tackle was actually made and the ball was dead. I think they may have ruled that there was a fair catch signal made.
I think one of the men in front of the deep man, McHugh, gave sort of a half-hearted fair catch signal.
If he does, it applies to everybody back there. Any of those people in the punt return team make a fair catch signal, it applies to all the receivers.
Referee Sam Mathis trying to sort things out.
You know, there have been a lot of decisions for these officials to make today that are a little different, a little out of the norm, and I think they've done a nice job. I've got to compliment the officials for what I consider a good sound job. I think they are ruling that an illegal signal was made, or that with having made a signal, an illegal effort to run or advance the ball was made.
So the ball is being brought back to the 31-yard line.
We had a fair catch signal on the offense, and he ran with the ball. We got 5-yard delay. First down.
So technically, it's a delay of game penalty. It costs the Cyclones yardage back to their own 31 with 7:03 remaining. Now, will Iowa State, trailing by 3, put the ball in the air? Hood has had much greater success in the second half than he did in the first half.
I think Alan Hood is an illustration of what has been said so many times, and not only about football, any competitive athletic venture, the only way you get better is to play. And he has certainly improved immeasurably since he took over after the injury to Alex Espinoza 4 weeks ago.
First and 10, Iowa State. Henderson is out to the left, covered by Yancey. Minor to the right, covered by Mark Moore. There's Minor. I think I said it was a 1st and 10 play. It was not. It was a 1st and 15.
Yes, and the reason for that, when you make a fair catch signal and the ball is caught by any of the receiving team, the clock is immediately stopped. So when he started running after that, it's considered a dead ball foul. So it was imposed after the markers had been set, making it 1st and 15 rather than 1st and 10.
So there was a gain of 7, and it's now 2nd down 8. Ball in the air, and it is intercepted. It is intercepted by Matt Munger, or is that, no, that's John Washington with it. Number 80, John Washington. Ball batted in the air by O'Neal, intercepted by number 80, Washington, all the way down to the 12-yard line of Iowa State.
Well, of course, that play has great consequences for both of these teams. It's a very outstanding defensive play, and Washington putting pressure on. The ball is batted by Leslie O'Neal, and Washington, having already put pressure on Hood, had backed off and started to move into pursuit. He was just in the perfect position as the ball game came down, and he got a chance to run with it, which I'm sure is one of the few times in his career.
In
Great
fact,
moment.
Either Washington or Harding could have run with it. They both had their hands on it. Washington wound up with it at the 11-yard line of Iowa State. 1st and 10, Oklahoma State. And here is Sean Jones. Inside the 10 to about the 8-yard line.
Well, you said this earlier, Ray, but the fleet of running backs that is put out there by Oklahoma State is immensely impressive. Sean Jones is a sophomore. He's 6'1". He weighs 212 pounds. He's from North Little Rock, Arkansas, Old Main High School, but he is really, they're listed as their 3rd tailback, and he's in there at this critical moment down by the goal line.
2nd down. About 7. Hilger with a lot of time, and oh, Harris couldn't hold on to the end zone.
I tell you, that would have been an outstanding catch if Harris had been able to hold on, because he had started downfield. He was bumped. As you can see, Rusty Hilger backs up, looks for him early, started to throw it out there. He was covered, and then Harris breaks to the inside. Ball was pretty much on target, but may have been tapped by the defender just as it came to his hands.
So now it is 3rd down and between 7 and 8. And there goes Sean Jones. He's inside the 5, short of a 1st down.
Well, this is a big decision for Coach Pat Jones, because if he kicks it, he's 6 points ahead. He can be beaten by a touchdown and an extra point. If he does not kick it, he could be tied by just a field goal. In this case, he has at least chosen to line up in the field goal position. This is not a bad situation. Let me put that in a positive sense. This is a good situation in which to go with a fake field goal.
Adam Hines, the holder. Larry Roach is good. The Cowboys lead stretches from 3 to 6. 4 minutes and 48 seconds left. Each team has its full 3 timeouts remaining.
I think we're going to see a lot of football in that 4 minutes and 48 seconds. I do think that Pat Jones was smart to go with the field goal in this case, because while Iowa State has shown a definite ability to move the ball, get it down with both their kicking game and their offense into Oklahoma State into the field, they're very likely to have another field goal opportunity that would have tied the game, and the Cowboys are unquestionably here for victory.
And I can't help but think that what it really is a tremendous show of confidence in the Cowboy defense.
No question, and very justified.
Incidentally, in case we do not have time or I forget at the end of the game, Mike Liston and Todd Wade have been our very important helpers here in the booth once again. Mike with his statistics and Todd is our spotter. Now the return men for Iowa State will be Michael Posey there, number 95. And their tailback, Richard Hansen, number 37, is off to his right. 4:48 left. Our final Big 8 Conference of the Week telecast. Our conference football game of the week. Larry Roach to kick. Posey. 15, 20. Lost the football. It is recovered by Iowa State just beyond the Cyclone 25.
Well, and that fumble was not a product of wet ball so much as the ball may have been a little wet, but it was more a product, and we're going to get a chance to see again as Posey catches the ball out about the 6-yard line and straight return up the middle, but you're going to see some very aggressive contact. And bam, Love makes the contact, pops the ball free. Posey and associate are able to get on it, but it was a contact fumble, not a wet ball fumble.
Allen Hood and company from the Cyclone 26-yard line. Fake to the tailback. And there's Henderson right through his hands and almost intercepted by Rod Brown.
Well, Rod's got to be frustrated with that. He's one of the great interceptors in college football. He's had
flag down.
A history of them, but he was not able to hold on. It is tough when the ball has been deflected. You're going to see here that Henderson goes up well. It's a nicely thrown ball. It's a little high again, but this is a deep pass, and to have it that much on target's okay. Normally, I think you'd see Henderson making that catch. The ball again may have been a little wet, but you see Rod has a couple of chances, but while he's attempting to make the yeah, Adam Hines got a hand on it. They gave it the volleyball treatment for a while.
Meanwhile, we have an illegal procedure penalty of 5 yards against Iowa State. That moves the ball back to the Cyclone 21-yard line.
Illegal procedure on the white. First down.
You know, we have not seen very many of the severe penalties, the big penalties that you sometimes expect in a game of this much emotion. We haven't had a couple of holding penalties. We've had very few of those personal foul kinds, but we've sure had a lot of the little penalties. A lot of those 5-yarders that have hurt, particularly Iowa State.
1st and 15. In motion, Hansen. And a great play by Warren Thompson and Leslie O'Neal. So the Cowboy defense is stepping front and center when needed most.
Well, yeah, we've got a little mishap in snap of the ball from the center to the quarterback, you see that he bobbled it just a little bit. He had to delay just a split part of a second before getting away from the center. And when you do, with people like Washington and O'Neal in that defensive front, they're going to get off. As soon as that ball moves in the center's hands, they're going to be moving. And if you delay a little bit, they're going to be there.
Second down, long yardage. Right through the hands of Henderson at the 33-yard line. Now that ball was well thrown that time.
It was very well thrown. It was right in his hands, and we do have Henderson isolated, and we've got an excellent look at the route he runs. It's about a 15-yard route with plenty of time. He's not closely covered, but you know, Ray, one of the things that I don't know the answer to, because the wearing of gloves, as Henderson is quite apparently doing there, is a new thing since I've been more removed from the game. And I've just got to feel that while gloves may keep your hands a little warmer, there's no way you're going to be quite as sensitive to catch the ball when you're wearing those things.
3rd and 22, 14-yard line of Iowa State. Here comes the pressure. Hood gets, about 8 yards out to about the 23-yard line.
Well, I tell you, Hood made an outstanding play. He's taken a lot of shots. As you can see him there on his knee, and I tell you, he has taken a lot of heavy blows throughout the afternoon. Attrition starting to take its effect on his body without question. But he made an outstanding play because he did make 8 yards from the line of scrimmage rushing with the ball when he was almost trapped for a loss of 5. Those 13 yards that he produced from that position of being trapped that's just like tacking 13 yards onto the net on a punt. And with the field position they're dealing with here, that was very vital and important.
3 minutes and 17 seconds remain. The clock is running. The Cowboys are leading 16-10. Jim Thompson to punt. Malcolm Lewis to field the punt, except that it went off the side of the foot. And the Cowboys will have it in very good field position with 2 minutes and 58 seconds remaining. And dreams of bowl games in their collective heads, the Cowboys have the football.
Also in the fourth period, that is 44-7. And the third period, Arkansas 48, nothing.
The ball is at the 48-yard line of Iowa State in possession of Oklahoma State after a punt that went out of bounds. Sean Jones powers up the middle for a couple. May we at this point say thank you to all of the good folks in the Big 8 Conference office. Commissioner Carl James, and among his assistants, Bill Hancock and Prentice Gott and Tim Allen, who has been on hand for so many of our games and have helped us. Our hosts here in Stillwater, Pat Quinn, the longtime sports information director, and Steve Buzzard of his staff, and from Iowa State, Kirk Hendricks, for their aid. We appreciate it. Now the Cyclones have but 2 timeouts remaining. They call this one with 2:49 left to play in the game.
Not sure why in that particular case Iowa State must have had some reason to need to communicate over a mix-up or a misunderstanding, because otherwise I don't see the value to their calling. And I'd like to say, Ray, that around Cats Country, USA, here in the Big 8 area, we appreciate the following of the fans. We've had a lot of communication throughout this year that's been supportive and helpful, and we appreciate the Cats Country fans. Big 8 football.
Time permitting, we hope to have an opportunity, but I emphasize time permitting, to chat with several of the players of those who participated today. Our referee Sam Maphis says we're ready to play. Oklahoma State, 2nd down 8, 46-yard line of Iowa State, 2:49 left to play. Sean Jones to the 42-yard line, where it will be 3rd down 4.
Let me also mention, since I was talking about Cats Country being Big 8 country, that from many of these same stations on which you're watching our game today, you will also get basketball, Big 8 basketball, brought to you by Cats Sports Incorporated, and we hope that you will remain a Cats fan throughout the basketball season that begins shortly.
We want you to pay particular attention to this brief message sent your way. Iowa State has but one timeout remaining now.
And I do know why they're calling these timeouts. I was curious a moment ago, but unquestionably Coach Kreiner has decided to go ahead and use up his timeouts to stop Oklahoma State from running out that clock. He doesn't want them to use one more second than he must let them use, and he wants to get the ball back, have as many seconds left where he can control the clock by throwing incomplete pass if necessary.
Here's a very big 3rd and 4. And we had a whistle just a split second before the ball was snapped and 2 flags down.
Yes, and Barry Hanna, the tight end for, I beg your pardon, in this case, I guess it was Barry Hanna, but the tight end for Oklahoma State was Dillard. Left just a tad early. And if, again, to clarify, if an offensive lineman puts his hand on the ground, offensive lineman, interior lineman, the tight ends can move around because they are part of the eligible receiver group. But anybody who puts hand on the ground, moves.
Illegal procedure on the offense, 3rd down.
And moves just before the snap, will then have invoked upon him what Sam Maphis just addressed, illegal procedure.
It is 3rd and 9 after that penalty, and the ball is back at the Cyclone 47. The wide receivers are in the game. And a little draw and fumble.
And I tell you, that Braswell is everywhere.
Braswell made the play. He forced the fumble.
Yeah, he is astonishing. He is as mobile, quick, and aggressive as any backer I've seen in a long while. What a big playmaker. We'll see right here. It's a draw play, and Braswell is there just almost as quickly as Sean Jones gets the ball. Sean is not able to secure the ball at all. He slides away from him, and it's another outstanding play by that one of these 2 great defenses.
Now, that was a second fumble recovery for Iowa State's Jim Lubers. 2:29 left. Iowa State has the ball and 1 timeout remaining. Hood wide open, the tight end, that's Dave Smolt, and he goes out of bounds and stops the clock at the Oklahoma State 43-yard line, forced out by Demise Williams. And
it's a nice pass. It's Hood moving to his left, throwing back to Smolt to his right, and number 82 Smolt's an interesting fellow. He had a broken bone that prevented his playing a while back, but more significantly had very severe burns over much of his body a year and a half ago that prevented him from playing early in the season, but he got back much quicker than they thought.
2nd and 1. This is Tracy Henderson. He has a first down around the 22-yard line of Oklahoma State.
And all of a sudden, the kicking of that field goal a few minutes ago by Oklahoma State is starting to look a lot more important, because as we look at this fine pass, again, Hood is gaining confidence as the game goes along, and he throws this one right on target. Henderson makes the catch, and he's got them in position to attempt a field goal at least. So that earlier field goal, putting 6 points cushion up, was very important for Oklahoma State.
At the 22 of the Cowboys, 1st and 10 Iowa State. In and out of the hands of Henderson. Williams was bearing down on him. It will be 2nd down 10. It stops the clock, the incomplete pass, with 1:58 remaining to be played.
Well, Ray, we've seen Henderson drop 2 balls here, which we assume from what we have heard of him, normally he would not drop. Got to be perhaps attributable in part to the wet field there by the wet ball. But again, I'm very curious about what kind of gloves those are.
2nd and 10. Minor comes left. Henderson is wide right. Fake. Almost caught by Henderson, almost intercepted by Adam Hines, but it's just an incomplete pass, and it brings up a 3rd and 10.
Well, several of these balls that Henderson has had a shot at have been very high, this again, you can see that he normally would have caught that, I'd assume, if the ball were dry or whatever, but it was definitely a catchable ball.
Now 3rd and 10. Here comes the pressure. Fourth down coming up with 1:43 remaining.
Well,
Is that John Washington putting the big pressure?
It was Big John Washington, number 80, who again played an outstanding game, and you can see the pressure coming as John Washington normally plays kind of up, over the middle area, but boy, he's made a move to the outside that first breaks up the pattern in the in the backfield, and Hood's forced to run out of the pocket, makes a good effort on the throw, but it puts all the pressure right back on Mark Backrow, who's had a real tough time. I beg your pardon, no Mark Backrow. They're going for it on 4th down.
4th and 10, 6 defensive backs, and there's a flag down, 2 flags down, as O'Neal has Hood in his grasp, but flags down from at least 2 officials. Illegal procedure, offense. Now, the sack doesn't count. The whistle blew prior to the snap.
Dead ball.
That's correct. That was
illegal procedure. White. 4th down.
When he says dead ball, of course, that means before the ball was snapped. You'll see that there was a movement by the right offensive guard, number 63, Vince Jasper, had the misfortune of pulling his hand off the ground just a little early, and look at the difference in these penalties. Iowa State's had 12 of them. Oklahoma State has had only 5. The yardage difference is not that great, but 12 penalties break drives.
4th and 15. This is it. Henderson, incomplete at the 10. The Cowboys take over. Now that would have been a 1st down.
Well, it was an excellent defensive play. Henderson again, and you see his gloves there. Henderson has been such a brilliant receiver that I'm a little surprised that we have not seen him come up with some of these tougher catches. You'll see the nice throw. Hood makes it throw right on the numbers. Henderson has it in his hands, and it's true that the defender in this case,
it was Wendell Yancey,
was right on him, but hey, we went pretty well there in collusion. Mr. Ray. Yancey was right on him. It was a tough catch, but again, a very makeable catch.
The Cowboys take over with 1:33 remaining, and it's that full house backfield, and Jones carries out to the 31. Iowa State can stop the clock by way of a timeout one more time.
And they opt to do it right at this point. Again, that's a wise decision. I do think that after this timeout expires and Oklahoma State has the ball, 1 minute, 27 seconds remaining, I think you'll see conservative play on the part of Oklahoma State, because Iowa State will not be able to stop the clock again.
If we do not have time at the end of the telecast, and it appears that that indeed may be the case, I would like to pay a personal tribute to the folks here from Cat Sports. Our producer Elliot Warner, our director Bruce Troit, and our right arm here in the booth all season long, Seth Berkman. The greatest tribute I can pay these people, and all of our technicians, good weather and bad, who've done such a marvelous job, is to say that they're true professionals, and Eddie and I really appreciate their efforts. It's been a fun season, and I can't believe that 11 weeks ago that those 11 weeks have gone by so fast.
Well, one of the things I think that makes the time pass so quickly is when you're dealing with class people. You enjoy yourself, it moves along.
2nd down and 5. Sean Jones to the 33-yard line. It will be 3rd down and 4. The Cyclones have run out of timeouts,
and you do not see them hurrying to the huddle.
The clock will have less than a minute remaining when the ball is snapped next time by center David Tucker to quarterback Rusty Hilger. Oklahoma State 16, Iowa State 10, on a day that has seen yet even more so-called upsets in college football, like Navy, a one-sided victory over previously undefeated South Carolina. Notre Dame just demolishing Penn State. 40 seconds left. Sean Jones, and a flag down, 2 flags down. Jones running to what is close to first down yardage, but those penalty flags stop the clock with 33 seconds still remaining.
Well, I think this last 5-yard penalty, it was encroachment, I believe, by the Iowa State defense. In doing so, you see offside signaled by Sam Mathis, and that will give Oklahoma State a 1st and 10 by penalty, and with a 1st and 10 and no more timeouts on the part of Iowa State, unquestionably the clock will now run out.
And it would appear that the Cowboys have survived a real scare from a fired up Iowa State Cyclone team coached by that gentleman, Jim Kreiner, who has really had his team ready to play today. They played extremely well, but as you pointed out, Eddie, those little penalties, those little mistakes have really hurt Iowa State today.
Well, they can be very proud of their effort. I know it's just important to not win when you're so close, but what a great effort they've made.
The clock is running. And that will be the final play of this meeting between Oklahoma State and Iowa State. Those fans who, those hardy fans who decided to stay to the end of this game, with I'm sure almost all of them followers of Oklahoma State, have retained their enthusiasm and roar their approval as this game is history.
And I'd like to just real quickly compliment that gentleman, Pat Jones, who in his rookie year as a head coach has done an outstanding job, as has Jim Kreiner, the gentleman he's congratulating there. I also would like to say that I really respect and admire the immense success that is now coming to Oklahoma State, our host here today, for the outstanding program that they've got this year. This football team has grown from a rather mediocre team a few years ago to one of the very good ones in the country.
So we'll be back to Stillwater, Oklahoma for a very brief summary of our Big 8 Conference football game of the week. As we remind you, this is the Cat Sports Network.